we're going to talk about the 2 LAPD officers that were fired for playing Pokemon Go instead of chasing a suspect. So a California court has ruled that 2 officers in the LAPD who ignored a robbery in progress call so they could hunt down a Snorlax in Pokemon Go instead will be fired. An active robbery with multiple suspects in a nearby mall, but instead of coming to help, they left the scene. During their patrol, they received a call for backup to handle an active robbery. They had a call for backup? This wasn't even like a call to respond. Like, shots fired! Officer down! I need backup! They're like, yeah, man, there's a fucking Snorlax right here, dude.
Hold on a sec. You're telling me that they tried to lie about not being able to hear it when they damn well knew that there was a recording of them in the car.
And they looked at each other and were like, nah. And they just kept going. The fuck? Welcome back, guys, for another episode of the Blacklisted Gaming Podcast. And Nelson is actually on an episode.
Yeah.
You've been absent since before New Year's. You know that? You realize this? When I think the last time you were on an episode,
it was Christmas.
It was the Christmas
weekend.
Christmas,
yeah.
It was Christmas weekend.
And then it was like, okay, I'm going to be gone for New Year's, no problem. And then, like, I forget what it was, but I got texted on, like, Saturday, hey, so you can be able to make it to recording today?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, as me and Keisha are getting ready to go out to dinner, I'm like,
yeah, that's actually 100% my fault, because I'm actually going to be trying to get a lot better about this, but I tend to not remind you until the day before or the day of.
Well, I'm also going to try to be a little bit more involved with, like, trying to gather some of the news too, since my schedule's semi-clearing up a little bit.
And it's just going to be you.
It'll be easier for me to be like, hey, Brock, so when are we recording?
Yeah, I know.
Also, too, I'm also going to try to make an appearance if you get back on the PS5, which I advise. I'm going to try to try to do some more of the streams with you on there, even if I'm not like.
You mean play with me while I'm streaming?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to get a little bit more involved.
I will get back on the PS5 once I get the cable that I need to do. There's a ground cable that goes for this Elgato microphone, because I figured out how to hook that up to my game audio and use the microphone, but there's massive feedback due to the fact that it's got bad grounding.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't have bad grounding, but when you're trying to run the microphone into your PC and your PlayStation, you get like a weird feedback buzzing sound that fucks with the game audio.
Okay.
You need a ground cable.
Gotcha.
So I need a ground cable.
Understood.
That's what it turns.
But also too, I've had a few things go better. I finally got a 2 terabyte hard drive to where now I can put every game that I've ever bought on the hard drive and just not worry about memory.
Are you talking about like an external?
Yeah, an external for the PS4.
Mine's a 4
terabyte. How much did that cost you?
I bought it from my buddy Van for like $70.
I paid like $50 off of Amazon for this 2 terabyte, which, by the way, is still not bad. Like I'm not gonna complain, but and I finally got a slightly bigger TV. Me and Keisha went out to the store, saw this Roku TV for like, it was a 42-inch Roku TV for like $150.
You know what you should just do? You should just get a desk and a monitor. I promise you, you will never play on a TV again.
Why do you say that?
The refresh rate's better.
Really?
Yes. And the latency is better.
That means little to me.
And okay, so when you play on a larger TV,
I understand latency, but you're like the refresh rate. And I was like, oh yeah.
Refresh rate means like the game looks and plays smoother. So like graphically, everything looks better. And the latency is also a huge thing. The bigger the TV, the more the latency.
Right. Well, I mean, also too, for me though, I had a pretty small TV. It was a pretty old TV. How about this? It was one of those flat screen TVs that was still like this thick. So
yours was real old.
It was an old TV. So we went out and it was like $150, but I didn't get it. And, the next day, me and Keisha went out because we totally forgot something that we were gonna make for dinner. Went back out. It was $99, and I was like,
I'm buying it now.
I'm buying it now. Yeah, 100%. It wasn't the fact that because it had like a markdown price. It was $250 something, whatever. You know, I didn't care about that. It was like a Roku TV that's 42 inches for $99.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I got that. Sad news though, I did break my Switch.
In half?
No, but it was on Keisha's desk, and there was a bunch of wires. I got up in the middle.
Honestly, I wouldn't even worry about it. I'd just get the fucking Steam Deck, which is basically like the Steam version of the Switch, except it's like got buttons on it like a SCUF controller.
Yeah.
And it's got the middle screen, and you can play everything in your Steam library.
True.
It's basically having a PC in your hands.
That's nice.
So I'm thinking about getting it. It's like
will I still be able to hook that up to my TV?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Sad.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
There are options to dock devices to it.
There are things that I'm really wanting to do, and I'm so debating on whether trying to get another PC or just try to repair my laptop.
Hey, Regiment got, so this is a little bit of Regiment news. Actually, we'll talk about the topics first before I jump in, because I got a PC Regiment news.
Because I need a new one, because there are some things in my library for Steam that I've really wanted to play.
But you
like,
can't.
Like the Isle has had some huge updates since I played it last, which was admittedly like a year and a half
I've
ago.
been playing Ready or Not.
But also too, I really do want to try that out. But like I don't have any access to it, and unfortunately, like
You're probably never going to unless you get a better PC.
I mean, shit. All right.
Then you heard it here first. You heard it here first, folks. Nelson needs to get a better PC. Start a GoFundMe for you.
Well, I need to get one that works.
That was wrong with yours. Is broken.
The startup functions won't work right now.
Perfect. You downloading a lot of porn. I got it.
Okay.
So today's topics. You're gonna really love this, guys, because today's topics are Battlefield and NFTs again.
Yes.
Well, a little bit different. They're not going to be. I promise you, it's not going to be like how last week's was, where it was like 50 fucking topics.
I'm really sad we don't thus far have an Activision update.
There isn't an Activision update this
really
week.
Sad.
There's really not.
Like that was supposed to be my gig, is like your weekly Activision.
Your
update.
weekly. I mean, here's an update. Bobby Kotick is still the CEO, so we both lost that fucking.
True, we did.
Whole theory there.
Last time I talked to Eldridge, I was taking him to the airport, and actually he brought it up. I was like, oh yeah, damn it.
He brought it up in the episode too. So in the Battlefield news that we're going to talk about today, so Battlefield 2042's performance issues are so bad.
So in terms of what performance issues, I don't know. Like
I mean, just perform. This is just basically what it is. It's performance issues, probably with lack of players, and I think it's a combination of lack of players and how bad and consistent the issues are in the game. That a cheat provider is actually pulling the support for the cheats from their store on.
Why would you do that? I don't know what the benefit of that is.
Probably because like if the game sucks so bad that you can't really play it, then cheats aren't going to do anything. So there's really no point to support it. So there's that. Also with Battlefield, Steam is actually breaking its typical refund policy and providing angry Battlefield 2042 fans refunds.
Damn.
And they're like literally extending the 14-day or like the time period and the amount of hours. It was like 14 days and 2 hours of gameplay. But now it's like there are people that literally have 20 hours into the game and are getting refunds because of how poorly performing and how bad the game actually is right now.
Damn. Well, shit.
So yeah, that's fun. We got some news about E3 2022. The in-person event was canceled and is now going full virtual because of COVID-19. So when in doubt, blame COVID. You know, because Optimus Prime variant's out. The fucking Decepticon variant. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, clearly Decepticon, because this variant clearly isn't doing anything.
No, yeah. It is rolling out like an Autobot, though. And that's the vaccines. Autobots roll out. Apparently they found like they found like nanotech and fucking microorganisms in the vaccines. And in Moderna.
Nanotech?
It was like they found like these microorganisms with looked like computer chips on them. Like microscopic computer chips on them.
What does that even look like under a microscope? I'm so skeptical of that.
It's weird. It's like a purple square. All right, so
I'm so skeptical of that. But.
And in the NFT news, Troy Baker, also known as the voice actor for Joel in the Last of Us series, has announced that he is doing an AI voice NFT.
Well, now was that him or was that?
That was him. He put
Okay.
it on his Twitter. He posted it. And he even made a statement about it, and he's facing some gnarly backlash over it.
Well, there's been so many people who have come out and just straight up said NFTs are just a way to get money out of you.
Well, yes. Doc says that somebody who, I forgot who he said, I forgot the guy's fucking name. He put out a video better explaining NFTs, and he's like, I guess it makes sense. But it's also going to be easily exploited, of course. So Troy Baker is actually partnering with Voiceverse NFT to explore ways where they can bring NFTs to the voice acting world. So we're going to turn our voices into NFTs now. So it was bad enough when people were selling shitty art on the internet
With binary codes.
with binary codes and blockchain technology. Now we're going to sell our voice or an AI generated NFT voice.
I don't like where that's going.
No one does. In fact, the backlash is so insane that even Sega has said that they're backing off their plans for NFTs because they saw how vilified it is.
I'm so proud of you, Sega.
Sega, you've done it. You did it right. People were starting to suggest Nintendo was getting on that fucking trend because they were announcing a Kirby announcement.
I really hope Nintendo doesn't get on the trend.
And people were like, "Oh, great, it's gonna be a fucking NFT." But some people were saying, "Well, one, there was a joke out there that said Nintendo won't jump on the NFT trend because they don't like the idea of other people owning something that they made." Because, they like to sue everyone. And then also,
Jesus.
on top of that Troy Baker thing with NFTs, Voiceverse NFT, which is the company that he's partnering with, has not been known to be a really good company when it comes to this because they've been notorious, apparently, for stealing people's voices and profiting off of them.
Excellent.
And then you have one of the most iconic voice actors in gaming advocate for them, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all, especially for if you're trying. And I've noticed this, and Yang Ya said this, and he's right. Everyone that's advocating for these NFTs almost damn near have the same exact response to their reason of why they think NFTs are a good thing.
Money.
It's almost culty. It really is almost culty. They all fucking have the same reason.
Well, it's because I think we all know what the real reason is. I don't know what they're telling people, but
they're,
we all know.
They're
what the real
basically
reason
saying it's the next step for letting the consumer have a hand in creation. When in actuality, it's all about we're gonna use this to make as much money as fucking possible.
Of course, we already know what it's for. Cat's out of the bag.
It's not curing AIDS, so I don't really want it's. Unless it cures cancer or AIDS, who gives a fuck? These NFTs are just a way to big corporations to make more money for no reason. Because, like I said, and I brought this up to Doc, it's not enough to make a bunch of money. You got to make all the money.
And I think me and you talked about that.
Yeah, we did. And you even said why do you need more?
It doesn't make
why
any
do
sense.
you need more?
When your company is a multi-billion-dollar company, what's the point? It's not even someone fucking and I'm not even a full supporter of this, but it's not even someone like Elon Musk who's literally sending shit to outer space. Hey, we need a lot of funds for this. But no, we're talking about you make games, and most of the time you don't even make good ones.
You make entertainment.
And you don't even make good entertainment most of the time. And you're telling me that you need more than multi-billion dollars worth of power in terms of your company?
The entertainment that you make with the amount of money that you make is not comparable. It's you flesh out this shitty money-making scheme essentially with your half-baked products and for the consumer to buy, and because people will still buy them, you're riding on the name of your product to make the profit and put in less work. So you make all this fucking money for doing half the work, for doing a half-ass job anyway.
Well, it's weird because if you notice it, to me at least, it seems very apparent that only the really shitty companies are doing this. And now I'm not talking about morally. I'm talking about even products. 100%. When was the last time that Activision hit a home run?
Did you hear last episode?
No.
So Konami's getting involved.
Really?
Square Enix is getting involved.
Oh my God! Other people who also don't make good games.
Correct. Right? Or in Konami, who's notorious for bastardizing their fucking legendary like
Their
game
work,
title.
yeah.
Their Castlevania 35th anniversary,
Mm-hmm.
they were announcing auctions for the NFTs, which are, by the way, $60-something a piece, like for like a starting bid,
Yeah.
and you can only bid with crypto. And then you know what these NFTs actually are? Screenshots of Castlevania. They're not even like real anything spectacular. They're screenshots of Castlevania, like the fucking starting screen
That's dumb as hell.
or like the map.
Like, it's just, to me, it's been very apparent that only companies who don't have good products or put in the effort to make good products are doing this. Because you don't, and this, I swear to God, this is going to bite me in the ass because I'm saying it, but you don't see people like From Software doing this. Why? Because they don't need NFTs to make money. They can just make their products.
Do you want to find out if they are?
Yeah, I do want to find out if they are. You know what I mean? People like Sega actually care about making good games, even though they clearly can't. I mean, the point is the effort's there. But, you know, it's
Let's
just
see.
the idea.
No, it doesn't seem like From Software is getting involved with the NFT shit.
It's kind of like they're too busy making their products.
Yeah. I mean, the company that was making the game Stalker 2, they were going to get on the NFT train.
Well,
and
yeah,
they
we already
decided-
talked about that. They
We
said,
did.
"Oh, we heard you. All right, cool." We're
And they
done."
backed off that because the backlash was so insurmountable.
Well, and as it should be. I mean, it's clearly nothing to help benefit us and only to help benefit them. Literally ponder more money out of
Yeah,
us.
100%.
Why do you think anyone would support that?
No one would. I know you guys are really tired about hearing about NFTs, and I gravely apologize, but that is literally all the news that's out right now. I mean, I think Doc sent me some shit. Let me look at what he said. Like he's put out some stuff to us in the group chat. I normally go off the YouTube fucking news that I find, like through the big creators that I typically go through. Let's see. PUBG is free to play. I thought that was always a thing. Ooh, this is a good story. So after the Troy Baker NFT, so two cops. Hang on, cops. So two cops were fired over deciding to not pursue a robbery suspect while they decided to go off and catch Snorlax in Pokemon Go. Got to catch them all, bro. Except for the people that really need to be caught.
That is so worrisome. Oh my god.
This is in North Carolina.
Jesus.
Oh no, that was LAPD. It was LAPD officers. Then again, it makes sense, you know, like everyone's like, you know, the whole ACAB movement, like cops just don't want to get involved with shit anymore.
I mean, I'm not justifying it. That's so worrisome that
I'm not justifying it either.
that's so worrisome that like, fuck it, we're gonna go catch Snorlax.
Yes.
But like, oh my god, that's so awful that and I bet it does you know, put a damper on why the fuck am I gonna go catch this guy for people to ridicule me. Fuck this, man. You know who isn't gonna ridicule me? Snorlax.
Yeah, Snorlax isn't going to fucking like put me on the news and make me lose my job. Or wait, oops.
Oh no.
Here's another topic I actually wanted to add for this week, but I completely forgot about it until now. So Sony has decided that their answer to the PS5 shortage was by putting more PS4s into production, because for some reason the logic behind we don't have enough PS5s is to make more PlayStation 4s. We can't seem to produce enough of the next gen. So we need to create more of the last gen, guys.
It makes me so concerned because they're either absolute idiots or absolute geniuses, and we don't know it.
It
yet.
makes me think of fucking Anchorman. 60% of the time, it works every time. And in turn of that, Microsoft, with their Xboxes, have actually stopped production of the Xbox One to actually make more of the Series X and S.
I still want whoever named the Xbox One, I want that person fired.
Yeah, honestly,
They have inadvertently made our lives so much harder in the smallest way possible.
it's weird because it's like I didn't even understand. Hang on, let me.
They should have named it the Xbox Lost because they did not win.
It is weird because the fact it's like when they name these Xboxes, right? I don't understand what their logic was. So like you got the Xbox, you got
Cool.
the Xbox 360, which is a complete turnaround from what the other Xbox was. All right, that makes, I guess, cool.
Yeah.
Now we get the Xbox One. Okay, why?
Zero logic behind that.
Which was already confusing because everyone referred to the old Xbox as the Xbox One.
Yep.
And then the Xbox 360. So now the original Xbox couldn't be called the Xbox One anymore because the Xbox One is the new one. And I actually remember seeing something about this where, no, this is the Xbox Series X and S. Or was it the Xbox One?
I've seen that. I've seen that around now.
Where someone said they wanted an
it's-
Xbox One for Christmas and they got the original Xbox.
That's funny. But disheartening but funny. But no, actually I saw in the Next. I went there because I was looking at just generally feeling out because I haven't gotten one yet. Switch prices because I broke my poor Switch. But
Your poor Nintendo Switch, bro.
I know. I was sad. I was almost through Pokemon Pearl too. But no. So I was looking at it. And I saw this box. And it was like $300. It was like Xbox Series S or something like that. And I was like, hold on. Like, is this the new one? There's no way that the new one's selling for $300. And it's not shaped like the new one. Is this
The Series S?
Yeah.
The Series S is $300.
Yeah. But is that the new Xbox that just came out?
Yeah. This Xbox Series S
Mm-hmm.
is the new next gen Xbox. However,
I thought it was a Series X.
it's both Series X and S. That's the confusing part, guys. We found it. So the confusing part is that there are the Xbox Series X. You know how the PS5 had the disc version and the discless version?
Yeah.
Think of the Series X and the Series S in the same way, except they both have a disc, but one is more inferior to the other when it comes to its hardware.
So why would you sell an inferior copy?
Exactly what everyone thought. The only difference is that it could play next-gen games, but the Xbox One cannot.
It's an Xbox One that can play Xbox Series X games.
Correct.
Why?
Because
Just sell the new one.
it worked because the Series S ended up being the most popular console that Xbox sold.
That's really dumb though, because then why? So now you're telling me that Xbox spent all this money to beef up their hardware, right? To compete with the PS5. Cool, no problem with that. Totally respectful.
No, the Series X was that.
Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting.
Yes.
At, is that they spent all this money making a new console to essentially release their previous console. Is essentially what I'm getting out of this.
Pretty much, yes.
So they sold the Xbox Series S, not the X, the S, as their new console, but is essentially an Xbox One that they have graciously allowed to play next-gen games.
I think it has a little bit better hardware than the Xbox One, but compared to the PS5 and the Series X, it's not nearly as good.
Why? Like, why would you do that? So
because
then
it's
so
basically
now,
like,
so now you're asking people why get an Xbox, because if you're going to buy an Xbox Series S,
because the Series S was it's basically getting next gen on a budget because it's $300.
that's still dumb as hell. Because if you're going to spend $300, you can afford $200 more if you can afford to spend $300. That's so weird. You just intentionally bought a shittier console. I don't understand.
If it was, here's the thing: if it was honestly that much worse, you'd see more complaints. I remember.
True, but it's the idea of like, could you imagine if someone was like, "Hey, what you got a new console? What'd you get? I got the PS4 Pro, but this PS4 Pro can play PS5 games." You'd be like, "Why didn't you just buy a PS5?"
Because you can't get them.
That's dumb. Well, true, but it's just the idea like that's dumb as fuck. Why would you do that?
Oddly enough, the Xbox was easier to get than the PlayStation was.
No, and
which is weird. I don't know why. I mean, everyone was. I've never been one to get in the console wars.
Yeah, no,
I just always
speaking,
I've always preferred PlayStation.
Same, because especially again we've talked about before, when I was growing up, that's when Xbox was doing a lot of their really shitty deals. Simple shit like telling people like, no, don't release free DLC. No, Valve, you're not allowed to do that because that'll set a precedence and we want to charge money for it.
Well, honestly, having a gaming PC now, I don't need one. I don't need an Xbox. I could play almost all Xbox games on my computer.
Well, that's kind
Don't need to do it.
Well, that's the reason why I was talking to you more about getting a new PC.
I honestly
getting an Xbox.
it's worth getting a PC over an Xbox. I mean, yeah, having a PS5 is great and all because there are games that are not on Steam and any other thing that you can get that are PS5 exclusive games.
I'm not gonna lie, I've really been enjoying playing Bloodborne on the PS5 again.
Have you?
Yeah,
Fuck
excellent
yeah.
game.
I mean, I've never been into the Soulsborne shit, so
I'm telling you, it is still Soulsy, but you should definitely.
Let me know if you can see this.
Yes.
Cool.
Am I on the camera at all?
Yeah, you are. You're good.
Cool.
That's all I'm really cared about is make sure you're on the camera. By the way, I'm getting a new one.
New camera or new PS5?
New camera.
Okay.
I'm getting 2 more of these ones. Oops.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I actually upgraded the USB drives in my PC so that I can handle more USB 3.0s because you need a 3.0 or higher for that camera, and I only had 2 USB 3.0 slots.
You could do that on. Gotcha.
So I needed to add one, so I have 5 USB 3.0 slots on the bottom, and then 3 additional. So I have 8 USB 3.0 slots.
That still sounds like a lot, but all right.
It's a lot. It's enough to do what I needed to do.
Cool.
So, because I want to get rid of these cameras, because this camera is better quality and easier to set up. So let's actually talk about our first topic, guys.
Excellent.
We're going to talk about the first topic now.
This is still so sad because 2042 could have been such a great game.
I know, man.
It hurts.
I know. I'm hoping that they learn from this failure.
Okay, first of all, we are literally just coming off the hump of a previous failure. The answer is no. No, they're not.
I can't be too much of a failure because the player base for that failure is even higher than this one.
No, it's the exact same thing that happened with Battlefield 5. Shitty game, came out, fucked up over and over again. They couldn't fix it.
And they went back to the other one.
People went back to Battlefield 1, which admittedly was a good one.
It was good,
but,
yeah.
But it's the same thing. It's not that Battlefield 5 has a good player base. It's that 2042 sucks. And people were like, well, I'm going to go back to the last Battlefield that we had that was good. Went back to Battlefield 5. Same thing that Battlefield 5 did to Battlefield 1.
It's a trend that needs to die.
They are not going to learn this lesson.
No, they're not. So Battlefield 2042's performance issues are so bad that a cheat provider has decided to pull its support. Don't need anti-cheat if your game sucks enough to not want hackers to fucking use them.
That is so bad.
Isn't it? I mean, like, it's quite honestly a 200 IQ play right there because you don't need anti-cheat if your game sucks enough to where not even the cheaters want to fucking buy cheats for your game. It solves your hacking issue. There it is, guys. We solved it. But, but it begs the question, why doesn't Activision, why do they have... it's because Activision, Call of Duty is so bad that cheaters are doing it to be assholes and troll it and troll Activision.
Yeah, no, the cheaters for... How about this? The cheaters for Battlefield 2042 wanted to do something. The cheaters for COD were like, we're doing this out of spite.
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
So, that's
but like I said, make a bad enough game and the cheaters will find it not nearly worth cheating. So... let's see. So Battlefield 2042 hasn't exactly enjoyed the start to life that the exciting build to its launch implied it would have, which honestly, the excitement of that launch died when I saw the trailers. I saw the trailers and I'm like, there's a problem here. And people thought even Doc was like, you haven't played it. It could be like it's...
Let's be fair. Eldridge defended this game no matter what.
He doesn't anymore.
Really? What happened?
Maybe
Lord.
maybe the more time he got into it, the more he realized I was right.
Lord, what happened? I want to know what specifically happened because we stopped.
He does not defend it anymore.
Me and my boys stopped playing it because we wanted to play Hazard Zone because we liked that. It actually reminded us, as I said before.
I don't even think people play that anymore.
Well, we couldn't.
Yeah, that was the biggest issue.
Every time we got in there, because sure, every so often, Conquest wasn't that bad to play. Cool, whatever. You can play that, But me and the boys, because we really enjoyed the game Hunt, which you should totally go get because for consoles, I know it's been out for a while now, but the new maps and everything else are out for it. I know it's been a while, but I'm behind the curve, so whatever. But Hunt is an awesome game. Like I said, it's PvP VE. So it's
I
versus
played
the players
Tarkov.
and the environment. I love it, but the issue is also Hunt is on PC. You can't play it on Steam, but no. The shitty part was we wanted to play that mode because it was fun. Well, every time we tried to go play Hazard Zone for like a month, we tried. Like we put in effort because my boy Luke really loved it. We couldn't play it, so we stopped playing the entire game because I was like, no, you're telling me that an entire third of your fucking game is inaccessible? That's unacceptable.
That's a huge problem.
That's a huge problem. And it's not even like, oh, hey.
And this was a mode that they were like, this is a new thing we're going to do. We're going to try to make this into something.
Well, the shitty part was that when it worked, it was fun. It really was. When it worked, it was fun. It really was. It worked great. But the issue was that, for an entire month, you're telling me that a third of your game is inaccessible? I'm not going to play it.
That's a problem.
That's a huge problem.
It sucks. It definitely sucks.
That's a third of your entire content.
So I've even said this before. In my experience, and I said this to Doc, in my experience, when trailers change in what they show from the previous titles,
yeah,
that's a red flag automatically.
In what regard?
So Battlefield has always been known for its destruction.
Yeah.
And they've always showcased it.
Yeah,
Always.
big time.
This time they didn't.
I think there was for Battlefield 1, there was huge destructions of like entire towers that were just, falling. In the trailers, they were showing planes, tanks blowing shit up.
Even in Battlefield 5, they showed this.
Fortifications,
that was Battlefield 5.
What?
The fortifications that you could build.
No, I was just saying fortifications like being blown up,
Oh, yeah.
things like that, And you're right. Admittedly, it was worrisome because they weren't showing that.
They weren't showing it at all. And we were just like, where's the destruction?
Yeah.
You had to actually go and watch someone's fucking their closed beta footage in order to see any destruction. And even that, it wasn't really anything special. I mean, the smoke effects were cool. Other than that, it wasn't anything special. Then the next red flag was how bad the beta was.
Well,
because and then
there
Doc
were entire towers in Battlefield 1 that you could destroy.
Yeah, and in this you
if
can't.
You left them up, people, at least when it was popular, when people were playing it, I remember going into lobbies and people immediately saying, just shoot the towers. But no one's in there. I don't care. Shoot the towers. The snipers will be in there very soon if you don't.
Right.
But we're talking 3-story towers just getting leveled. And now in Battlefield 2042, I think there's some like buildings in fucking Hourglass that get blown up that are like those small
mud huts.
Mud huts, yeah. And it's like, that's it? Like that's all
Even
of it?
still, like the hangars and the warehouses, just the walls blow up.
Yeah.
And you need to shoot them a lot.
And it's only sections of walls, though.
Right.
Like, you can tell what they did was they took a section of wall, made an explodable area there, and then they literally copy-pasted into the next section of wall and made a little hole there that you can also blow up. Like, they just copy-pasted that for every building. I was like, for some of those, especially for some of those that aren't command posts, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, command posts, I understand, don't level the whole command post because then it kind of
defeats the purpose.
Right. But like for some of the buildings that aren't part of that, like you should be able to level that bitch.
And you can't.
And
you can't. And it sucks. And that was another red flag was what I saw in the beta, and when I played in the beta, the first thing I thought was, "Oh no. This is going to be a really bad launch." And even Doc was saying, he's like, "It's just the beta."
And as soon as we got into the beta, I shared my apprehensions with you too, with the lack of player design. So what I mean by that is lack of character design between teams.
Well, without
like
being,
we told you,
right? Without being redundant, like all the issues we've talked about.
Well, the reason why I bring that up is because I'm going to bring up something else, something called Gears of War Judgment. If anyone, especially in the Gears of War franchise, remembers Gears of War Judgment, the campaign was all right. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it. It was pretty cool. I liked some of the changes that they made with the guns. Like some of the new guns were awesome. But the story was kind of lacking, and then there was also other issues. Multiplayer, right?
Yeah.
You didn't get to play as a Locust anymore. It was just humans versus humans. And that laziness that went into that made that game shitty is the exact kind of laziness that I see when people aren't making the differences between teams.
Right.
Like, that's a huge problem. You're telling me you couldn't take the time to differentiate between the teams.
Well, I think we even talked about this.
We did. We talked about this extensively.
Not even just that like DICE actually had a different idea for what they wanted to do, and DICE and EA told them no. Because they did have a different design.
Right.
Like there was US versus Russians, and the character designs were drastically different.
Yeah.
And but EA said no, we're going a different direction now.
That's so stupid because that's such a
they were
simple
trying
thing to
they're
do.
chasing trends. So what I was trying to get at was that I told Doc this,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept saying this is not a good sign for this game because the
Yeah.
beta was so bad. He's like, it's just a beta. I'm like, I keep telling people this, and everyone, if you are one of those people that don't listen to what the fuck I say, I listen. I know I don't know everything. I will admit that.
Yeah.
I only know from my experience and what I've seen. In the history of gaming, there has never, ever been a bad beta
And we checked.
that resulted in a good game afterwards. The betas that were always bad, because the games often launch, 1 to 2 months?
Well, normally, if you're going to have a game that has a bad, polling or bad, stigma to it, normally it's because they had a closed alpha team go in there, play the game, and then they don't have a launch date yet. They don't have anything like that.
Right.
They might have had a kind of a shaky alpha, and then they repaired things, and then they had a decent beta and decent game release. But you don't ever see that with betas because by the time that the beta's already hit,
The game is done.
the game's either already done, like you said, being polished up, finishing touches, or they already have a launch date that they essentially have to stick to. And not many game companies, like publishers, are going to be willing to be like, yeah, hey, we'll put a little bit more time and effort into this. Almost all of them are like too fucking bad. You're going to launch it. We're going to get what we get out of
Betas
it.
are not betas, they're demos.
Yeah, 100%.
And I've told people this, and people are like, it's just a beta. It's just a beta. Have we learned yet? Is this the moment where we fucking finally learned that betas are not like this whole fucking idea that it's just a beta when the beta sucks? I promise you the game is going to be just as bad at launch, and it's not going to get better for a year at least. If they and that's providing they stick to the support that they want, that they're claiming they're going to give a game. Never in the history of any fucking game you've ever played, ever has a bad beta resulted in a good game. It's never happened.
True.
Never once has it happened. And I keep telling people this, but because I'm me, I'm technically like a nobody when it comes to the gaming world. I have no like influential voice with this. And this is why this kind of like, I wish we were bigger than we are now so that people would fucking listen. Because everything that I've said is right, even though I am wrong in ways. Yes, I admit this. And when I'm wrong, I correct myself. However, when it comes to shit like this shit is exactly why I started this podcast, because it started with the Division 1, Ghost Recon Wildlands.
So was Division your inspiration?
No, Destiny 2 was.
Really?
Yeah, Destiny 2 was just like, I was like, the Division 1. Oh, cool. Look at all this hype behind this. I can't wait for this game.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it, bought it, played it. And I was like, well, that wasn't at all what it was like. Same with Watch Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Italy when that happened, but Watch Dogs, from what I remember seeing in the trailer versus what I played, was not the same. I'm like, this doesn't look at all like what they showed. And this was back when Ubisoft was very famous about showing one thing, giving another. And then now they're stopping that. So the Division 1. And then after the Division 1, it was Ghost Recon Wildlands. Now, I admit, Ghost Recon Wildlands, when it launched, it was good. It was fun. And I even said this, though. I'm like, I think the only thing that's going to kill this game is of lack of endgame content. And I was fucking right. There was no endgame content. You were basically just running around Bolivia, just shooting random bad guys. And the stealth mechanics were broken. They didn't work at all. It didn't matter. You could be a click away and snipe somebody. The whole enemy element's going right to your position and killing you because of that, or fighting you because they knew where you were off of that one shot over a click out. Didn't matter. It did not matter. So after that was the Destiny 2. Destiny 2, I was just like, I was a huge Destiny player. Like I did 12 raids a weekend on Destiny 1. I had all the content from Destiny 1. I had been playing Rise of Iron. For those of you that play Destiny know what I'm talking about. Destiny 1, at the end, I'm like, yo, I can't wait for Destiny 2. And I thought, well, they're not going to keep going with Destiny 1 because they have all these other ideas for Destiny 2 that it would just make more sense to put out another game instead of adding more content. So we're going to get everything that we've already had and then some.
Yeah.
With a new game. No. It was vanilla Destiny all over again. They took away random rolls with gear. Granted, yes, after they left that, they added that shit back. But all the stuff, what they did was they took all the Destiny 1 stuff away and then sold it back to you in Destiny 2.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit too.
We have talked. Yeah, I know we've talked about it.
Where,
So,
like, what was it? Certain items and everything like that people got for free in Destiny 1, they were trying to sell for money.
it was just like like weapons that were in the random loot, like they were in RNG.
Yeah,
It was like random gear that you get, like exotics and stuff that you can only get if you played and beat the raid on the hardest mode. You got this one exotic. And then once you got that exotic, and then some people got it, some people didn't because it was completely random. And then they got rid of it. And then now guess what? Galahorn, the most famous rocket launcher in all of Destiny, the most famous weapon in all of Destiny. It was the meta for years. It was the meta. Like you weren't even allowed to. People wouldn't even pull you into a raid unless you had this rocket launcher because it was that good. They got rid of it, and now you can get it in Destiny 2, but you have to buy it. So a game that you could earn for free, you have to buy now. So Destiny 2 was why I was like, why the fuck is this happening? I'm noticing this as a trend now. I started this podcast because of shit like that. I started noticing games were launching very shitty, but and then the betas were also very shitty. So I started getting into gaming news, and I started diving more into it and trying to research and figure out why is this happening. Now I know. I want to share, and then I listened to a lot of Joe Rogan.
excellent.
So I wanted to implement a way of like, how can I do this like Joe Rogan does, but put it in the gaming world?
Okay. Now we just need to get Neil deGrasse Tyson on here.
I do want to get guests on, like more guests.
Yeah.
Like I want to actually bring people on.
Apparently, I'm not enough.
You're technically a co-host now.
Oh, well, I've been promoted, but not enough. So,
well, I mean, having a guest it brings a whole different dynamic.
No. I totally understand.
Let's get back to this topic before we because we're already like, we're squirreling out too goddamn much.
And you're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm doing my job swimmingly.
You're doing good, kid. All right, so the latest installment of Battlefield series was showcased through 2021 ahead of its eventual launch in November. While the reveal that 2042 wouldn't have a campaign raised quite a few eyebrows, which it did.
And
that was another red flag.
And it should.
The previous of its grand and epic multiplayer modes looked very promising. No, it didn't. To cut a long story short, Battlefield 2042 is not delivered in any way of most of those eagerly anticipating and expected to. The game has been plagued with bugs and issues since launch, and its player count has quickly dropped off. In fact, as revealed in Insider, even the cheaters don't want to stick around at this point, nor do the services supplying them.
Well, I remember actually talking with Eldridge about one of the updates for it. So it clearly showed that they didn't give a fuck about actually fixing the game. So during one of the first updates for it, one of the patches, they decreased the damage that the 50 caliber sniper rifle could do to vehicles, but they didn't add any kind of bullet deviation to the SMGs. So while you had a harder time now taking down vehicles because of the snipers,
yeah, you could 3-shot the vehicles with snipers.
You couldn't anymore because then they decreased the damage that 50 cal was able to do to the vehicles. And now people were getting pissed off because then they didn't fix the issue of, well, you have a submachine gun who's now able to tick someone to death at 200 plus yards because there's no bullet deviation. It's a fucking laser.
Yeah.
So
I think it still is.
Yeah, I don't think they even fixed that ever.
And then you had the weapon bloom where you're like shooting at people and like,
oh yeah,
they're not getting hit.
Then there was the weapon bloom. Not to mention too, there was
hit marker issue.
There was a loadout
hit registration.
There was loadout glitches where like all of your loadouts, you would go into a game and they just wouldn't be there. You couldn't access any of your weapons, any of the attachments.
I had that
on
a few
your
times. Or you couldn't spawn into the game at all.
You would for me and my friends, we'd have to completely shut down the app and restart the app to fix that, like every time.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, like quitting out wasn't enough. So. Like, there were serious issues, and when they were doing the patches, a simple thing like that pisses me off. The whole thing of, like, especially in Battlefield 2042, the vehicles were kind of cancerous because they
still are.
Yeah, well, I don't play it anymore, so were kind of cancerous, and they could just regenerate like fucking Deadpool.
I know.
And they had a tanky health bar regardless. So, to fix that, we made it to where you do less damage to them. And then now the SMGs weren't fixed either. And that was, I damn well know that was probably one of the top complaints that people had.
The vehicle thing has been the top complaint since day one. There's too many vehicles.
Well, I was talking about
the
SMG. I was talking about the
Oh yeah, the SMGs were too. The SMGs and the vehicles were the two top things that everyone complained about.
If they even would have just fixed those two things, we probably would not be having an article like this right now.
Probably not.
Even if they just fixed those two things, and those things are simple to fix. It just shows that they just don't give a fuck about their game, about their product, about the players.
I wouldn't say simple fix because we're not developers.
I would say simple fix, because if you're telling me that you can't make an SMG less accurate, like every SMG that's ever been put into a game ever, and you can't tweak the damage or the health regen of the vehicles down just a little bit, bullshit. I may not know how to do it, but you're telling me that you don't know how to do it? Okay, cool.
That's fair.
No.
So Henderson shared an update from a company that creates sell softwares used to cheat in a variety of games, letting its subscribers know it will no longer be serving Battlefield 2042. The reason for this decision is the ongoing performance issue of the game, which affects the cheat, and most people don't use their subscription anymore since the game is dying.
Damn.
The update from the cheat supplier reads, so that's right, Battlefield 2042's issues are so extensive, even the cheats don't work properly. So if you're one of those subscribers above messages 4, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, you will still be able to use the service's cheats as normal until your subscription expires. If you have a lifetime subscription, then you'll be able to transfer it to a different game the company offers cheats in the cheat software for. It isn't just the cheaters who are leaving 2042 in their droves. Just 2 months after the game launched, which is mind-blowing that it's only been 2 months, and it seems like a year.
It really does. It seems like it's been a long time.
2042's player count has already dropped below Battlefield 5 on Steam. The number continues to get lower, too, and will likely soon overtake, or perhaps that should be undertake, Battlefield 1. A mammoth undertaking is needed to save the game at this point, and right now it's unclear what exactly would achieve that. I mean, we don't get content for 2042 until fucking March anyway, so I guess we'll never know.
I would love for Battlefield 1 to be the most popular Battlefield game all the way up until 2022. Yep. That'd be fucking hilarious.
So, back to Steam. Steam is providing refunds to angry Battlefield 2042 fans. So, Battlefield 2042's player count continues to plummet as we make our way into 2022. The game was released in November, numerous bugs, balances, and missing gameplay features that have angered the Battlefield community to the point where moderators of the Battlefield 2042 subreddit threatened to close down and stop rampant toxicity, which we talked about.
Jesus.
Yeah,
they were threatening the devs and shit. It's also led to some fans to request refunds. As noted by Dexerto, at least one player even managed to skirt Steam's rules regarding refunds just to get their money back, which has actually been shown to be more than just one that did this. Reddit user RoboSurg posted 2 messages sent to Steam customer service requesting a refund of 2042. The first request was rejected, as Roseberg had over 4 hours of gameplay on record. But Roseberg noted that at least 2 hours of that were spent dealing with a bug that kept resetting his configuration file. So he was basically having to go back in and rebind and because it was just constantly fucking resetting his key bindings and shit. He couldn't properly review the game.
Damn.
So the broken state of the game and its bugs did not allow me to test the game properly, which is the reason I wish to refund the game, wrote Roseberg. Steam eventually waived the 2 hours of gameplay rule as a customer service gesture and gave Rosenberg their money back.
That's, good on Steam.
Yeah.
Like, shit.
As noted in the comments, however, PlayStation players looking for a refund are out of luck. Of course, because Sony is a cunt. Battlefield's player count on Steam has continued to drop precipitously since the last November. 2042 started with a peak player count of over 100,000, but has since dropped to below 9,000 in the past 24 hours.
Shit.
It's so low that, we already read this. So DICE has promised action to address the players' concerns, but there were so many voices demanding action that EA's communication director told fans to take a step back and let the developers go back to work. These tweets have since been deleted, but it shows how much pressure on EA is under to make 2042 the game it initially promised. So honestly, when I read about this, not on here, there was more than just that one guy that got a refund. There was guys that actually were getting refunds to this day that have been playing since day one.
Yeah.
And they're still getting refunds.
Okay.
Because of how bad the game actually is. So it's like, yeah, people are clocking like 10, 15. Like there's some people that were still clocking in at 10 hours of play. And they were saying like the game is just so fundamentally broken. Like I'm trying to test this game and I can't, and most of my time is being spent trying to like circumvent the bugs. So yeah, 2042 is girl, you ain't looking too good.
It's almost at the point where I'm kind of like debating with myself, like, do I encourage them to try to fix it, or do I just say scrap it, restart, do it right this time?
Scrap it and restart. I'm honestly scrap it and restart.
Because I know a lot of games totally can make a good comeback. I mean, I'm not saying that they can't, and I'm not saying that it wouldn't be awesome to see it rise from the ashes, but like,
it's going to be very hard.
They would almost. That's the reason why I said like just scrap and restart, because it's almost so bad that, you know, is it even worth it? You know,
is it worth it? Let me work it. Put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it. Is you aren't fitting in the fan yet?
I was not ready for this today.
Did you know that part of that song is actually her saying, "Put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it"? That's her saying that backwards. That one thing that no one knows what the fuck she's saying. Mm-hmm. It's actually, put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it, played backwards.
Huh.
So it was, they did put that thing down, flip it, and reverse it.
Ah, understood.
The more you know. All right, so
that's something I really needed to hear today.
Yeah, the more like, dude, I'm a fucking open book of useless information.
Excellent.
All right, so we're gonna talk about E3 because E3 is surprisingly still around. I predicted that this was gonna die in the next couple years, and that was in 2019 because there's so many. Well, because Sony was backing out of it. Other companies were backing out of it. It was getting down to the point where it was just Xbox and like Nintendo. No, even Nintendo is like doing its own thing. Each of these game publishers and game companies are doing their own expos, so they don't need E3 anymore. That's why Sony pulled out. That is the reason why Sony pulled out. It was in 2020 when they started talking about doing this.
That is kind of sad because it is becoming a relic of a bygone age.
Yeah,
it's actually kind of sad.
And then E3 was talking about, that's why Jeff Keighley, the guy that was running E3, and he runs the Game Awards and shit, he decided to leave because E3 is actually starting to shift its way into being a influencer platform. So where they use like influencers from like Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and shit, and celebrities. They want to involve more of that kind of shit to, you know, promote products. So it's turning into like a fucking celebrity event.
I'm so sad. Like that really,
I know.
That really hurts.
It does hurt. It does hurt, but.
Ugh.
So E3 shifts to online only event because of Omicron concerns. I am Optimus Prime.
Roll out.
So the Entertainment Software Association is shifting the Electronic Entertainment Expo to an online only event out of concerns around the pandemic. The Mad Panda, as I call it. Due to the ongoing health risks around COVID-19 and its potential impact on the safety of exhibitors and attendees, E3 will not be held in person in 2022. The ESA in a statement to GamesBeat. We remain incredibly excited about the future of E3, which no one else does, and look forward to the announcing of more details soon. That means the show will likely take place online this summer for a second year in a row. This is going to be a trend. I know it. Everyone's going to be too afraid to fucking face each other anymore. Like, we've created this perpetual fear of each other. And, like, even to the point where I've even seen people post, like, screenshots of text saying that, like, our online classes we're going to be doing for class today, I'm requiring everyone wear a mask on the virtual class because we have a student who's afraid of people without masks.
Why is that? Do you think?
I don't know. because you know, the media and everyone has like incited so much fear that people have turned into complete pussies. So that means the show will likely take place online. I just said this. So
excellent.
The ESA, a trade group led by the games industry's publishers, is evidently being cautious because of the huge burst in coronavirus infections prompted by the Omicron variant. The CES 2022 Tech Trade Show, which is taking place in Las Vegas this week, has caught a lot of criticism for going forward in its in-person event despite the risks of being a super spreader event.
Okay.
I'm really tired of people getting shit over trying to be human beings again.
Well, the issue
It's
is
a touchy subject. I don't really want to get into it, but at the same time,
are you sure? I mean,
I do, but I don't. Not on here because this is just getting to the point where I'm just like, guys, come on, this ain't going away. Are we really gonna do this forever now?
well, I mean,
Is
it's mostly because people have never really experienced this before, and it's not like in the 1920s back when in the 1920s is when it happened, right? Spanish flu.
I think it was sooner than that.
Tens, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I'm bogging down on my history here, but no, it's not like back in the day when like people, as soon as the pandemic was kind of over, people were just like, hey, I have to work to survive, but we're not exactly at that point in history where human beings die as often. So people who have easy lives, meaning literally everyone who is in the first world, who do not actually do things for actual survival, but just, to maintain their lifestyles, it's very different. You know what I mean? Because unfortunately, you're no longer pressured to be like, oh, well, I have to get up. I have to be tough. There is no excuse. There is no excuse. You either get up and work for the food that you get or you die. You know what I mean?
Weak.
Well, I mean, it's very tough. I mean, how strong do you really need to be if you work in an office job? That even includes myself. Shit. You know what I mean?
Not strong, but at the same time, it's
I'm not talking about like, oh, I have the biggest muscles at my office job. I mean, just like
strong-willed.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't have to be strong-willed if you work an office job.
No, but
You know?
everything going on in the world is an example of why people need to be strong-willed, because the world doesn't give a fuck about you. So,
No, I agree with you. I get you.
so while E3 is still months away and the current spike could be over by that time, the organization is in the midst of signing up companies to take exhibition space. As it often takes months for companies to pull their booths together for the big show, which normal times draws more than 50,000 industry people and 15,000 fans in person in Los Angeles Convention Center every June. Meanwhile, the Game Developers Conference is scheduled for an in-person on March 21st, 25th. In an email, the GDC said it plans to move forward at this time. And I'm not reading it. Should I read it? No, this is the creed.
Nope, let's keep moving.
We can move on now. We can actually move on to the one thing that matters that everyone loves talking about, and that is fucking non-fungible tokens. NFTs. Non-fungible tokens, for those that don't know, which are really cool. I love talking about NFTs.
We know.
I love it so much that I want to put a shotgun in my mouth and blow the brains out of the back of my skull.
Well, the good news is we don't have a shotgun here.
Yeah, I do.
I will take that.
I have ammo for it, too.
Oh, my God. Anyway.
I have an AR-15 right behind me and a fucking vest full of loaded magazines for it.
I'm going to be busy today. So.
No, I'm not really going to do that. I got too much to live for. In fact, I'm paranoid about dying right now because I'm just like, I have so many good things happening for me that dying right now would be the universe's way of saying, gotcha, bitch. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You ever been in that point in your life where like, please don't die. I can't die.
I've never had to live at that point, but all right.
It's just like anything could happen. And with my health kind of being in a weird place right now, it's I'm just like, it would be my luck that I find out like you have stage 4 thyroid cancer and
we don't need your bullshit today, Brock.
No, we're gonna manifest good things. Manifest good. All it is just an imbalance in my thyroid and no irregularities, and it just doesn't work as right. You know, and that's why I'm tired. My white blood cell count was normal, so
Oh, that's good.
that is a pretty good sign that I don't have cancer, right?
Not a blood cancer.
Shit. But elevated white blood cells do usually mean that you're
Have a blood cancer, yes.
But what about any other cancer?
It depends. Does your body know that you have cancer? Are you at a certain stage of that cancer?
Well, if the thyroid isn't working properly because of cancer, which means like my hormones aren't being regulated right, don't you think the white blood cells would kind of be like, we're going to go after this? Because like
if you have cancer, your body doesn't know to kill it. That's why it's deadly.
Oh, really?
That's the only reason why cancer is honestly deadly. It's not that your body couldn't kill it. It's that why is your body going to kill your own cells?
Yes.
That's why it's so fucked up.
My sister has Hashimoto's disease.
Oh, I don't know offhand.
That's her white blood cells are attacking her thyroid. because they don't recognize the thyroid
as part of like the body.
So they're attacking it. So that's why she that's her thyroid problem. Mine is just, my shit don't work.
Your thyroid's lazy.
Yeah, it's lazy. It ain't producing enough of the thyroid hormone, whatever the fuck.
But yeah,
that's
no.
called.
In terms of cancer news, though, they are using the polio virus, like in a completely like neutered version of the polio virus. They're putting it into masses that people have, like if you have like a tumor somewhere, and the body is like obliterating most of the tumor.
Really?
Because yeah.
Whoever discovered that, protect him, because he's probably going to suicide soon.
I'm also I think it was an entire laboratory that did this, so it wasn't like one person was credited with like, you know what I mean? But point is that it's also kind of weird too. Like, could you imagine being the person who's going to proponent that, like telling the first like active patients, not like
so
not like a lab test,
we're gonna give you polio.
Yeah, it's just like,
but it's gonna save you. Like, wait, Teddy Roosevelt had polio. I mean, why?
No, not Teddy.
Not Teddy. FDR.
Franklin. Yes.
Sorry, I get the Roosevelts. Fucking, why do they have to have the same name?
Yeah, Teddy.
So like, FDR had polio. Like, why?
Why would and
he was in a wheelchair. Why are you giving me polio? It's like, well, best case scenario is that it's going to kill the cancer and you're going to be good to go. The worst case scenario, it's going to kill the cancer and you're not going to be able to walk ever again. Or even worst case scenario, it ain't going to do anything and you're just going to die.
It's actually really weird. Someone brought up about FDR. They're like, how did a man in a wheelchair get elected back in the 30s? Like,
because he hit it really well. Apparently.
He did. But it's just odd. Like, someone was asking that. They were like,
it was like the only people that really knew were his cabinet.
Yeah, essentially, because they would stand him up.
Yeah, he would already be standing by the time people saw him.
Yeah.
He didn't have to fucking get up or walk around or anything like that. It was just like they show up, FDR standing there, like gives a speech. It's like, all right, have a good day, everyone. Okay, you can leave now, and wait for him to leave, and they'd be like, oh, what a great speech, and then they leave, and he'd be like, all right, fucking sit me down. Like, that's essentially what it was. I wonder how true it was that when Pearl Harbor happened, that he stood up at the fucking table on his own.
I don't know. It depends on what kind of stage of polio that you are.
I mean,
or how much
he had leg braces.
Maybe he had leg braces, but like, I mean, you got to think how devastating Pearl Harbor was at the time.
Yeah,
that wasn't it. That literally was the premier ultimate moment of we're going to war. Like, literally right now.
Yeah.
So,
pretty much, yeah. All right, so we're going to talk about Troy Baker from The Last of Us and other games, but you would know him if you played The Last of Us, which I'm assuming you've played both.
I played the first one.
All right, cool.
Which is really funny.
So do you know Joel? You know what happens to Joel in the second one?
Yeah, they blow out his knees and then his face
with a golf club.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they fucking tee off literally on his head.
I was actually I was both hurt and also totally like, this was coming, because we brutally murdered literally everyone I ever met in The Last of Us 1.
That is true.
Like, it's
That's
really
very true.
Like, again, part of it was the whole like, it's really shitty because you really got to know the characters in The Last of Us. Awesome fucking game. Probably one of the best games in recent history that I played, and it was just amazing. Golden. But then, like, people were like, "How could they do this to Joel?" I was like, "Hold on, though. I applauded this a lot. I loved the game. We were absolute cunts in that game, though.
We killed a lot brutally.
Brutally killed
people
some people who totally deserved it, and everyone they ever met. So it's kind of hard to be like
human bad, fungus person bad. It's like we killed anything that fucking breathed oxygen.
Yeah.
Or photosynthesized was dead. Like,
yeah, 100%.
Except for the zoo animals, those lived.
We let the giraffe get away with it this time.
We let the giraffe go now, but when that long-necked bastard comes back, I'm going to bash his skull in. All right, so let's talk about Troy Baker now. So Troy Baker faces powerful backlash over AI voice NFT promotion. Baker has entered the NFT game, and his fans don't like it. And honestly, it's more than just his fans. It's other fucking voice actors that have said that this movement right here is going to fucking ruin life for voice actors. So, prolific voice actor Troy Baker, best known for BioShock Infinite's Booker DeWitt, and
Really, I didn't know that he did that one too. Sweet.
I told you he's done a lot.
Well, most voice actors have done a lot.
Yeah,
still.
but you don't even realize it's them.
Well, it's like, what was it? The voice of Mario is also the voice of Parthenax and fucking Elder Scrolls.
Is he?
It's a me, Parthenax. Yes. Yeah, same
That's
person.
Mario?
Yeah, that Mario. Yes.
Wow. Okay. The Last of Us Joel and found himself in hot water with his fans after tweeting about a partnership with a Voice NFT company. His backlash was spurred not only by Baker's decision to get into the controversy or the notoriously sketchy NFT game, but in his tone of his message, in which he told followers, "You can hate or you can create." He says, "I'm partnering with Voiceverse NFT to explore ways where together we might bring new tools to create to new creators to make new things, and allow everyone a chance to own and invest in the IPs they create." This is the same. This is what I'm talking about. It's like the similar message, each one.
Yeah.
Baker tweeted, "We all have a story to tell. You can hate or you can create. What'll it be? The ratio is brutal." So, what's his ratio look like? Oh, 2.3 thousand likes with 11.7 thousand replies. By the way, if you don't know what a ratio is, that's when you have more comments than likes. And usually when you have more comments than likes, you've been ratioed, and it's not a good sign.
And now they're going to take away how many comments there are.
So this is a shitty grift, Obsidian's Josh Sawyer replied. It has nothing to do with ownership stakes like in new IPs or anything to do with a very bad speculative asset class. It sucks. So it said Twitch streamer Carnage had some advice. Step 1, read. Let me zoom out of this a little bit. Read all the replies and quote tweets. Step 2, realize this is not the time for NFTs in the gaming space. Step 3, review any contracts you've signed to see how to get out of them. Step 4, withdraw from said contracts. Step 5, apology post stating said withdraw.
Damn.
Susie Hunter says you can create this.
I'm questioning the hat choice, but I agree.
Skill Up, who was formerly with Layman Gaming, and he is one of my inspirations to create a podcast. Even though he does it better than me, I will say, I do it differently than he. So, Skill Up says, Austin, I admire your work so much. It's rarely a week that goes by that I don't listen to some of your music. I hope you don't follow Troy down this path for all reasons you already know, but mainly it would bum me out immensely. Austin says, appreciate the kind words. Right back at you. It seems my very obviously a joke wasn't so obvious. What do you say? Oh, he made a joke saying that he was going to get into NFTs. So some followers also made sincere attempt to explain why this is a bad idea. Troy, this is not about hate. NFTs are unethical. They have a severe impact on the environment. We're talking about the environment again. And are creating a massive shortage in chips, computer parts, etc. Which, okay.
Okay, so listen, guys. When we're talking about video games, NFTs, and companies trying to screw us over for money, the environment is not how you convince people to or to not do something.
No, it's not.
The environment is not going to hinge on whether we manufactured 100 more computer chips or not.
No,
it's just weird. I don't know why people bring this up all the time. I care about the environment, but in terms of gaming, you're not going to win an argument by bringing up the climate because video games.
Yes.
It to me, it's weird. Anyway.
So the voice NFTs Baker is promoting are a little bit different from the low-quality monkey JPGs that we're used to. They're based on audio rather than the crappy pictures. This thread from Voiceverse NFT accounts purports to explain what they're actually all about. Although, to be honest, I don't understand what most of it is actually supposed to mean.
So,
well,
yeah. So for the pictures, we all knew that for whatever picture, whatever kind of art or whatever's going on, we knew that there was a binary code that made that your piece of property, right?
Yeah, or you could just screenshot it and tell them to go fuck themselves, which...
True. But point is, what about this voice audio thing makes it an NFT?
This is going to explain it. So voice NFTs provide unlimited perpetual access to the underlying AI voice that the NFT represents ownership of. If you own a voice NFT, you can create all kinds of voice content and you will own all of the IP. So basically you can use Troy Baker's voice to say whatever the fuck you want it to say.
That sounds awful.
What would be the point? That's the other thing. What's the point? Why? The thread states, imagine being able to create customized audiobooks, YouTube videos, e-learning structures, or even podcasts with your favorite voice. Sure, because I've always wanted to listen to Joe Rogan's podcast as Troy Baker. That's dumb. Podcasts? As a podcast in ourselves, would you want to listen to us as someone else? No. You want to listen to us.
I hope so anyway.
Yeah, from the numbers, no, you don't. But I'm in pain. I'm in Spain without the S. So like basically, yeah, okay, so podcast audiobooks, sure. Okay. I understand the point, but also at the same time I think it's the dumbest fucking thing ever because
I think it's so stupid. If you want to listen to an audiobook as someone, you know,
so here's an example. You can have fucking an NFT of Gilbert Godfrey read you the fucking To Kill a Mockingbird on an audiobook.
It's weird. All right, whatever.
I know it's weird. So like, but podcast doesn't make sense because that's already an audio format with a person's fucking voice recorded. Why would you want someone else's voice in that?
All I can think of now is just it's going to start making people. I feel like this is going to be used to incriminate people.
More than just that. More
like,
than
just, this is a problem.
This is going to cause a problem by stealing revenue. Because if you, let's say, for example, you have Troy Baker read use Troy Baker's voice as an NFT to do Joe Rogan's podcast. Joe Rogan's not going to get anything out of that. Troy Baker and the fucking voice NFT is. So you listening to Joe Rogan's podcast as Troy Baker isn't going to help Joe Rogan. It's going to help Troy Baker and voice NFT. That's stealing. That's stealing.
Yeah.
So let's go on. So, with your favorite voice, all without the hassle of additional legal work.
You can do it without permission is essentially what we're getting at here. Understood.
You can do it with their voice with permission. But who says that you have permission to use someone else's podcast or book in that voice?
True.
So, like, for example, I know for a fact Joe Rogan's going to be like, you're not going to listen to my podcast as somebody else. So this also allows people with limited resources to access professional grade voices more easily. What would they need it for? I want Alexa to talk to me like fucking Wesley Snipes or whatever. Anyway, there's acknowledgement, or Steven Seagal. There's acknowledgement of negative impact of NFT creation has on the environment, but Voiceverse said it's trying to move its NFTs to a more environmental friendly mainnet, a term used to describe a live independent blockchain that uses its own cryptocurrencies or tokens in the future.
What's the point of bringing up the environment?
I don't know.
No,
because they said that mining crypto is like, or like creating crypto uses a lot of resources, which causes, you know, like servers to run hotter and, you know, the power that goes into making those servers to generate those coins, it'd be increasing that and causing an impact on the environment. Blah blah.
Yeah, don't worry about your cars, don't worry about the trash, don't worry about pollution, but crypto and NFTs that'll, you know, help the environment or hurt the environment. Guys, no, we're talking about a bigger issue of infringing upon people's work. We're talking about possible incrimination of people, because now if you're using their voice, like,
you can make them say whatever you want.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. And now you can incriminate someone for no fucking reason. Yes. This is a bad fucking thing, but we're worried about the environment.
That's the one thing that matters, I guess. Of course, there's also a not a potential increase in value. Voice NFT says. So voice NFTs provide royalties to the original voice actor who is involved in building the NFT. If the value of their voice NFT rises, the voice actor also benefits from the increased value. We're always keeping the human in the loop, except for the ones that we're stealing from, like podcasts. So if it's just an SaaS product and not an NFT, we won't be able to create a truly decentralized solution in preparation of Web3. And the key reality is for you to completely own IPs and is proven to the public, not managed by us. So there were some expressions of support scattered here and there, but responses to Baker's tweet, but overall the reaction was powerfully negative. The blowback was enough to cause Baker to clarify his reasons for taking up the NFT cause, although he gave no indication that he's rethinking his position. All I'm going to say, Troy, is that I guess Abby was right, and Last of Us 2. I'm not so upset about it anymore. Jill deserved it in more ways now than he did before. So I always want to be part of the conversation, and I'm not saying Troy Baker deserves to die. No, his character.
We just want to blow out his knees.
We just, like, find that golf club, find Joel, and, like, I'm just going to go get Last of Us 2 again and then relive that moment on repeat. I'm going to fucking go back to my last save and just watch it and be like, this is great. This is fantastic. So I always want to be part of the conversation, even if sometimes it finds me in the midst of a loud one. That's one way of putting it, I guess. Baker said in a brief follow-up Twitter thread, appreciate y'all for sharing your thoughts and giving me a lot to think about. I'm just a storyteller out here trying to tell my story to whomever will hear, and I'm hoping I can help others do the same. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm grateful there are those who are passionate about their stance and not only feel safe to express that, but also have the means to do so. The hate create part may have been a bit antagonistic. I hope you all will forgive me for that. Bad attempt to bring levity. Anyway, feel free to resume the conversation or not, as you please. I appreciate those with the truth showing it, those who support offering it, and those who, with anger, doing their best to express with it.
Ooh, Jurassic World Evolution 2.
Well, here's the thing. Troy Baker's never really been known for fucking taking backlash very well. Because Jason Schreier, who we've referenced many times in this podcast, did a thing saying that video games are too long. And he didn't specifically name The Last of Us 2. And Troy Baker fucking spewed fire against him on that because he was like, he took it personally. It was just like, this wasn't directed at you, you fuckhead. This was just talking about in general. Probably more aimed at Ubisoft than you. Because look at Assassin's Creed. Super long.
Well, now
with very little substance and parts.
Hold on, though. I say that is still different because I would love for video games if they were something akin to, let's see, something like Dark Souls, something like BioShock, you know what I mean?
Where they're long, they're good, but they're long because it takes you fucking forever to
it's one
beat
thing
something.
if your game has a lot of fucking content to it, like that, fucking A-okay, man, hell yeah. But yeah, if your game is long because it takes forever to capture every fucking, stronghold on your fucking map because you made an open world again, then yeah, I have a fucking problem with that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I have a point to bring up on that. So,
Fuck Ubisoft.
Fuck Ubisoft. So, and it's not just the environmental cost of generating NFTs that's a concern. NFT scammers have disappeared with millions of dollars in recent months, and there's little evidence at this point that they do anything not already offered by existing technologies. So, in the backlash of this, let's hang on. Let's actually go down to where someone was saying that, let's see, that's not what I wanted. So let's see, Voiceverse stealing. There we go. That's the one I want. Troy Baker. So this is a thread here. Huh, interesting. Isn't that what I thought? That's not what I want either. Shit. Well, essentially, there was a voice actor out there that was accusing it, that says Voiceverse NFT had taken her voice and was profiting off of it against her permission. They reached out saying that they apologized and they're working on figuring that out. But at the same time, all right, so what we were talking about before,
we've talked about many things before.
So have you played, we're talking about games that are long with a lot of content. So
yeah.
Have you ever played Dying Light?
Yeah.
So did you hear about how long it's going to take to 100% Dying Light 2?
I have not.
500 hours.
Why?
Because there's going to be so much to it. It's going to take about 80 hours to beat the main story. and side quests, and 500 hours to complete everything.
That's either going to be awesome or
Or
that's going to be awful.
It's you're gonna be like, it's been 84 years.
Just about. No, again, if it has the content to it.
How long is 500 hours? That's 20 days. If you played straight, like without sleep, which isn't possible. That's 20 days of gameplay.
Again, if you have stuff to do and it is interesting, hell yeah, brother. But we also know too that chances are it's not.
Nope, it's not.
It's probably going to have 8 to 12 hours of legitimate fun shit to do. And then what they're telling you is it's going to take you 500 hours to
100% the game.
Capture all the command posts, do all the side quests, all the main missions.
Maybe not, because if you think about it, how long does it take to 100% Skyrim?
I don't know.
That takes about 200 to 300 hours.
Skyrim's pretty impressive size.
What I think it's going to be more like is going to be more like Skyrim, where there is so many side quests to do that like you can pick and choose however you want to do it if you want to.
Apart from the main story, yeah.
Like apart from the main story, there's gonna be like so much extra shit that you can do that doesn't involve the main story that you could just.
They're probably also going to set up some sort of challenge system as well.
I'm guessing it's going to be more like how Skyrim is, where even if you beat the main story, there's still so much that you can do that you can put it down for as long as you want, come back and still have plenty to do, and then even after you beat the main story and then any of the side quests that are pertinent to the main story, there's still going to be even more to do where you could just go back to it and be like, I want to kind of like, fuck off and do this, except, just do whatever you want to do if you're, or like the curious person that likes to go off and explore, and then the fun, and like that's the thing. It's like I feel like that's going to be okay because if they providing they have enough content,
right? No, if you have enough content to fill that, and it's not just mindless like grinding shit. Sure, by all means that could be fine. I know that Dying Light 1 had a
Dying Light 1 was great.
It had a mode in it that was what's it called? Where you would like go into like these areas and they were like harder areas with like some kind of boss enemies. It was almost like I think of them as like little challenge dungeons. Sorry, I've been playing a lot of Bloodborne, so chalice dungeons. Like challenge dungeons where like you would go into like a garage or an underground area and you got to collect certain supplies. It's dark.
Oh yeah,
okay.
I know what you're talking about.
Like,
yeah,
they may have a large challenge system around that, which would be fine. Add some content to it. But I don't know what they mean by like 100% the game. Is it like platinuming it where you get like all the achievements and all the shit? Or is this just, what is it? I don't know.
Well, we can look that up. Let's see, let's add that. Dying Light to 500 hours. Yay. So
also Elden Ring's about to come out too?
Yes, I heard about that.
I'm very excited.
So let's see. Dying Light 2. They actually clarified on this. So Dying Light 2 Studio clarifies 500 plus hours. Plus, I did not know it was a plus there. Length claim following backlash. The sequel story could be finished in around 20 hours. The studio behind the upcoming Dying Light 2 has clarified the game's length following the backlash claims made over the weekend. On Saturday, the game's official Twitter account claimed to fully complete Dying Light 2 Stay Human, you'll need at least 500 hours. Almost as long as it would take to walk from Warsaw to Madrid. So from Poland to Spain. While intended to be a positive statement, the tweet received some backlash from players who felt this was too long for a single game. Now, Techland has posted another tweet explaining that the main story itself is only 20 hours in length. We wanted to clarify our recent communication about the amount of hours required to complete the game. Dying Light 2 Stay Human is designed for players with different gameplay styles and preferences to explore the world how they see fit. 20 hours to complete the main story, 80 hours to finish the main story and all side quests, 500 hours to max out the game with all choices and endings, checking every place in the map, every dialogue, finding every collectible. So if you're looking to do all the side quests and stuff, it's going to be about 80 hours. But if you're trying to complete the game and get every single ending,
yeah,
it's So basically, if you want to get a different ending, you're going to have to play again.
I mean, that'd be fine.
Yeah. So I guess Dying Light 2 has suffered a number of delays, but finally appears to be nearing its February release. This next month. With no further setbacks. Follow up to 2015. So yeah. Cool.
I'm excited about it because I really liked Dead Island, and then
you're never gonna get that, the new one. You're never gonna get it.
Oh no, I'd never expected to. They released that one trailer with Homeboy jogging, and then we never heard a damn thing after that. That.
So we are going to talk about Sony and their strange plan to go ahead and, fix the PS5 shortage issue by making more PS4s because, that makes some weird sense in some fucking parallel universe. So a new report says Sony is making more PS4s to deal with the PS5 shortage. Anyone still trying to get a PS5 knows that actually doing so is a struggle. They disappear in seconds anytime they go live online, and finding one on store shelves feels as rare as winning the lottery. A new report from Bloomberg says that in order to deal with its shortage, Sony is producing more PS4 consoles. The publication reports that as Sony anticipates 2022 to be another year where the supply of PS5 struggles to keep up with the demand for the new gen console, it's ramping up in production of the PS4. Despite what some might have thought, Sony said that it did not have plans to end production of the PS4, although rumors said 2021 would be its last year. It's one of the best-selling consoles ever, and there are always a crossover between generations. Very few and far between. Sure, the first year or so is going to have, a mixture.
Yeah.
But at some point,
when are you going to...
What exactly happened to Sony's idea of they're no longer going to be making games for PS4? Everything's going to be for the PS5 going forward. All new IPs are PS5 exclusives. So we're going to build more PS4s, even though that in the next year or so, all of our games
What do you mean in the next year or so? One of their very first games for the PS5...
But most of the games were still both.
No, a lot of them aren't. Hell Let Loose certainly wasn't.
Oh, that's on the developer.
Demon Souls wasn't.
Okay, so Demon Souls.
You know what I mean? There's been a ton of games, and also too, there's also a lot of games as well where even though they have both PS5 and PS4 versions, you can't play together. When we did Battlefield, we couldn't play with our buddy Gabe because he didn't have a PS5.
Yeah, that's true. So
when
the cross generation is not exactly a
It's
thing.
a flat out lie.
It was always said it was never going to happen.
I don't care. It's the idea that it doesn't happen. They're like, oh, there's always crossover between generations. No, there's not.
No, there's not.
That's
true. That's true.
Most of your games that they've released for the PS5 are not for the PS4.
Yeah.
Sure, there are some new games from third parties that you can get on both, but it doesn't work that way.
That's the weird thing. It's like, why are you upping production on a last gen console if all of your new games are not going to be for that console?
Unsure. I don't know.
So what's important to note here is that based on what Sony has publicly said, it isn't making more PS4 solely in response to the PS5 shortage. It's just continuing production as usual, which includes the manufacturing of PS4s. However, Bloomberg reports that some familiar with Sony's plans for console manufacturing said PS4 production was going to end in 2021, but now, due to the new gen shortage, it's going to produce another million in PS4s in 2022.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, there are going to be just a few, several 100,000 PS4s sitting on the shelves. And some poor bastard who can't afford or get their hands on a PS5 is going to be like, they're only going to, basically what it's going to be is just like, if they can't get their hands on a PS5, the only reason why they're getting a PS4 is because the one they have now is taking a shit and they need a new one. So as Bloomberg notes, the PS4 users hold chips, so it won't interfere with the PS5 production. It uses older chips. And due to the console's age, it's easy to produce and cheaper to manufacture. Plus, many of the most exciting releases for the PS5, looking at you, Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok, are coming to PS4 too. So if someone was, these are going to not be good on PS4. Maybe God of War. God of War doesn't seem to have upgraded too much from its predecessor. So if someone who's holding out on a PS5 or the first Sony console to play these games, they can technically experience them on the PS4, which would be much easier and cheaper to obtain, but probably not better to play on. I'm just going to say. This news comes after numerous reports of continued production woes from not just Sony, but Nintendo and Microsoft as well. Speak of the devil and you shall appear. come on down, Microsoft. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. Yeah. So Microsoft stopped manufacturing the Xbox One consoles at the end of 2020. The new report indicates Microsoft stopped producing all Xbox One models at the end of 2020 and is now prioritizing the Xbox Series X and S supply. Interesting reaction. So the Xbox One had a rocky...
Oh, I see what they did. They lied. They did the exact same thing that Sony did, but they're allowing their Xbox One S or Series S to take the place of their last-gen console. It's essentially what they fucking did. They just essentially said, hey, here's the Xbox One, but you can play next-gen games on it.
I mean, it's better than the PS4.
I mean, no, I agree, but this is also still kind of a shady business practice. I don't...
Yeah, I know.
Look, guys, we're not entirely doing what Sony's doing. We're just doing it for better profit.
Right. So the Xbox One has had a rocky start, but ended up the previous console generation as innovative, well-rounded machine. Despite still ending its Xbox One X production before the Series XS arrival, Microsoft apparently pulled the manufacturing plug on all of its Xbox One consoles back in 2020. In many ways, the Xbox One is quintessential video game comeback story. At the beginning of its life, the Xbox One seemed to have different priorities than what players expected, controversially being marketed as an all-in-one experience for the living room and almost having always online caveat. I remember this. Furthermore, the choice to pack every console with a Kinect, Xbox Motion's gameplay camera from that time, made the entry price much higher than the PS4, and in turn setting Microsoft up for a game catch-up. By the end of its life, though, and thanks to innovatives like Xbox Play Anywhere, the tremendous backwards compatibility library, and upgrades to the Xbox One X and S, the console was considered redeemed to many. According to notable Microsoft reporter, all these ads are just nuts. According to the notable Microsoft reporter Tom Warren of The Verge, Microsoft stopped manufacturing all Xbox One consoles at the end of 2020. Cindy Walker, the senior director of the console product marketing at Xbox, told The Verge to focus on production of the Series X and S. We stopped production for all Xbox One consoles by the end of 2020. In 2020, Xbox announced it was discontinuing the Xbox One X before the release of the Xbox Series X. God damn. But it just seemed to also be the Xbox One S. Also stopped around the same time. Since then, retailers have just been selling through the remaining stock, meaning whatever units are still out there are all that's left. So this announcement follows the new Bloomberg report suggesting Sony and PlayStation is taking the exact opposite approach in dealing with its supply issues. Although Sony considered discontinuing the PS4 at the end of 2021, as the unrest from players who want the PS5 kept mounting, ultimately Sony decided to continue production of the PS4. And I blame the fucking scalpers. Actually, I blame Walmart for this.
You blame Walmart for this?
I blame Walmart for this.
Why?
Because Walmart started the whole scalping problem with the PS5s.
Really?
The pre-orders for the PS5s came out, and when one company does it, by law, every company, every store has to do it too. So when Walmart started their pre-sales before everyone else intended to, everyone else had to follow suit, causing scalpers to scoop the pre-orders immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And they even gave a date of when they were going to do it. Pre-orders available at this date at this time. Scalpers beat everyone. Then when Walmart, when they started doing like Walmart, Best Buy, Target, all that shit, scalpers scooped every single fucking one. It was like more like, I remember Sony boasting about how many fucking PS5s they sold, and the comments were flooded with people who be like, I haven't been able to get one. You sold how many? But yet you have so few people that actually have one now? How does that work? Oh, because scalpers got it and they're selling them for thousands of fucking dollars because they can. And Walmart, they would even put out a time of when they were selling it. They didn't do the same thing that Sony did on Sony's website. It was random. You had to watch for it.
Oh, yeah.
Which kept scalpers away.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, you had to have a verified PlayStation account. And they had an AI in there that detected scalping bots. So it wasn't possible.
So you couldn't just send in an AI to
They
buy
also
it.
put everyone in a queue.
Mm-hmm.
And they would only let people in like one at a time. It was like waiting in line at the store. So they put you in a queue, and it was your turn. If there was any left, if you got really close to the front, if there was any left, you got one. If you were pretty much like in the 50s and beyond, you were fucked. You didn't get anything. So like I remember that's how I got mine. I got mine from the PlayStation like fucking store, their website. So anyway, let's continue. So Sony decided to continue production of the PS4. The worldwide COVID-19 pandemic has stunned electronics manufacturing across the board, especially those involving microchips. And since the PS4 uses less advanced technology, it is generally easier in console to make, according to Bloomberg. Microsoft's decision to quietly pull its Xbox One production has seemed to pay off pretty well for the company. While Xbox Series X remains pretty hard to find, the Series S supply is pretty much kept up with demand, with the Xbox Series XS combined becoming the fastest-selling Xbox consoles in the company's history.
I wonder why that is.
Those scalpers.
No, I meant like it's the Xbox Series S is so much easier to find. I wonder why that is, because it kind of looks, at least on the store shelves when I saw it, it kind of looks just like the Xbox One, but you're allowed to play next-gen games. And that I think that's so shitty, because now there's going to be a lot of people who are trading in their Xbox Ones.
Good marketing idea.
For their Xbox Series S. No, I'm not saying that they're stupid. This is clearly a smart decision. I'm just saying it's kind of shitty. Hey, here's your previous gen console, but now you can play next-gen games on it. Like, I don't know. To me, it just seems really shitty. $300 to play next-gen games. No next-gen console, just next-gen games. You're welcome.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems sketchy to me.
So let's talk about a really fun one.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the 2 LAPD officers that were fired for playing Pokemon Go instead of chasing a suspect like they were supposed to do.
Yes.
You know, doing their jobs. Listen, boys, you're not content creators. But how do you make content on Pokemon Go? You can't. I mean, let's wear a GoPro.
A GoPro to what?
To watch what you're catching?
Maybe, but all I can imagine is just you're just running that way. It's just you in a field.
And it's just like, there's a fucking Gyarados out here. All right. I went and caught a shiny Charizard. So, LA cops fired for ignoring robberies so they could play Pokemon Go instead. Lives were lost. Banks were instead of helping to catch a robber, 2 officers opted to go catch Snorlax. I can only imagine the I honestly can only imagine the conversation between these 2 guys. Be like, you know, like Unit 4, there's a robbery in progress in your area, and they're just sitting there like, and they were sitting because they're on, you know, waiting for a call, and they're playing Pokemon Go, and they're like, oh shit, there's a fucking Snorlax, we gotta get it, and then they get the call, and they're like, will they really know if we don't answer? Let's go get Snorlax. They're just like, I can only imagine the conversation between these guys when they're just like,
more importantly, what happened?
Yeah, but there's a fucking Snorlax right here, man. Like,
what do you do though when you get caught for this, and now you have to explain? You gotta explain to the chief.
Like, what were you doing? It's like, why did you not respond to that robbery? You know, maybe it'll say it in this article. So a California court has ruled that 2 officers in the LAPD who ignored a robbery in progress call so they could hunt down a Snorlax in Pokemon Go instead will be fired because they were looking at charging them. So court documents indicate that the incident occurred in April 20. Oh, this is a while ago. April of 2017, when officers Luis Lozano and Eric Mitchell were on a foot patrol. During their patrol, they received a call for backup to handle an active robbery. They had a call for backup. This wasn't even like a call to respond. This was a call for like, shots fired, officer down, need backup. They're like, yeah, man, there's a fucking Snorlax right here, dude. I'm sorry, my guy. You know, I'll remember to be at your fucking funeral.
Damn.
I'll give the flag to your wife and say like, yeah, but that Snorlax is so worth it. God. So
you're right though. That was a while ago, 2017.
Yeah.
Shit.
So an active robbery with multiple suspects in a nearby mall, but instead of coming to help, they left the scene. When their sergeant asked about their failure to respond to the call, they reclaimed that they hadn't heard it because there was a lot of music and it was really loud in the park where they were patrolling. The sergeant let it drop at first, but soon reconsidered. This was a more serious situation than emulating Pokemon Go on your PC, after all. He decided to take a look at the digital in-car video system, which records officers' actions while in their vehicles, and that's where things went very wrong for the Pokemon cops. The video revealed that they were in fact parked very close to the mall when the call came in. That they were not only heard the call, but discussed whether or not they should answer it, and that they radioed in to say they were at a different location to justify not responding to the call for backup. So they did have a conversation. We're like, yeah, we're just going to catch this fucking Snorlax.
Jesus, man.
At that point, the matter was referred to a detective for further investigation, and things got even worse. The detective determined that after several minutes of ignoring calls, the officers responded to a genuinely priority incident instead, the appearance of a Snorlax in Pokemon Go. They then spent about 20 minutes driving around LA talking about Pokemon and pursuing the Snorlax during the time that Togetic also appeared. And after catching the Snorlax, they agreed that to get the Togetic too. This was apparently a tricky business. Lozano buried it in an ultra bald. The Togetic and Mitchell struggled to capture the creature, although he was eventually able to make the bust. So they are detailing what happened. The guys are just going to be just so jealous. Mitchell said after he finally made the capture, "Dude, the guys at the department are going to be so fucking
Man, I hope
geeked
they're still alive. Shit.
And just like."
Jesus.
Like, dude, I hope Mitchell's still alive so I can actually tell him about this fucking Snorlax. He's gonna be so fucking jealous and geeked out about this. He'd be like, yo, you got a Snorlax, bro? I got shot. You caught Snorlax? I caught a fucking 38 to the chest.
Jesus. Man,
Thank God I was wearing body armor, you fucking moron.
So hold on a sec. You're telling me that they tried to lie about not being able to hear it when they damn well knew that there was a recording of them in the car.
And they looked at each other and were like, nah. And they just kept going. Oh, fucking idiots. Oh my God. This is
Jesus.
Come on, man. I'm glad I saved the best for last. In follow-up interviews, both officers claimed that they weren't actually playing the game, but were just talking about it. The detectives investigated the case, determined that they were not being truthful. Following the investigation, Lozano and Mitchell was one of the guys,
never mind,
pleaded guilty to failing to respond for the call for backup and denying playing Pokemon Go while on duty and lying to cover it up. They admitted that they had left their assigned patrol area to chase Snorlax, but said that it was part of an extra patrol and not a game, but a social media event. Huh? Their protest for not. Both officers were found guilty of various infractions and fired from their positions. They appealed the dismissal, however, arguing that the video evidence collected in their patrol car was not admissible and that the rights had been violated when their sergeant initially asked them about the incident without their lawyers. I mean, they weren't going to criminally pursue charges, so why would they, I don't know.
I don't know either.
So the court rejected those claims, leading to the current appeal, which has now also been denied. The specifics are long and detailed, but the short version is the court ruled the in-car video recording was admissible and properly used in the case, and that their chat with the sergeant was not a violation of their rights. Their termination has thus been upheld. It's a funny story as long as you don't think too much about the corrupting influence or even small amounts of power and the abuses it engenders. What isn't funny is that it took 5 years. Yeah. 5 years for the system to declare, yes, these clowns are in fact fired. And yet, this may not be the end of it. A lawyer representing the fired officers told the LA Times that they are disappointed in the ruling and considering on how to proceed.
Well, shit.
They should definitely be fired.
Agreed.
They're just like, yo, fucking Carl back at the station, bro. He's going to be so
Also, too, why would you want to go back and work there? Because every single one of those guys
no one's going to trust you.
No one's going to want you to be involved in anything.
No one's gonna trust you. You just lost all fucking goodwill from any of your fellow officers.
Because now no one's gonna want to be associated with
you. And then on top of that, you were always going to be labeled as the fucking officers
who chase
Snorlax and let other officers fucking deal with a robbery that could have gone by themselves. That could have gone wrong. It's just like you can't trust these. You can't trust them. You cannot trust them.
In the slightest. No, zero.
I mean, cool. You guys are Pokemon fans. That's great and all. And I get it, playing like you, especially if you're patrolling, and you want to hatch the eggs, and you want to get this fucking.
Especially if you're not the one who's driving and you're just kind of there, like.
Well, they were technically on a foot patrol.
Oh, that's right. Never mind.
So it's just like, yeah, I get it. If you were on like on foot patrol and not much is going on, you just put it like fucking like have it in your pocket or whatever, or put it in like in your kit and just walk around and hatch your fucking eggs. And if you're in the car waiting for a call and want to play it, go for it. Like, cops,
I can understand that.
Cops are fucking scrolling through TikTok and shit all the time anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Like, and yes, I know people are like, they should be doing their jobs. It's like, no, they're not going to be out there like.
But also, part of their job is also kind of sitting around waiting for something to happen.
It's the same in the military. You're sitting around waiting for something to happen, and like you can't gig guys for fucking sitting like the everyday person that's going to chastise these guys for sitting in their patrol car playing it on their phones. Just like you sit at your job and play on your fucking phone. So,
True.
Granted, it might not be Pokemon. It might be like fucking you're looking at tits on Instagram or whatever. But at the same time, like, I guarantee you, most of the people that are bitching about the cops being on their phones are sitting at work on their phones.
While they find out about this.
Yes. They're reading about it at work when they should be working on their phone.
Speaking of other news, did you hear the whole thing going on with Drake?
What about Drake?
The
hot sauce thing?
Yeah, the hot sauce thing. I was...
Honestly, I don't think he should be liable for that.
So for those of you who don't know, apparently Drake, the musician, the artist, had sex with this model. This model consensually had sex with him.
With a condom.
With a condom. He ejaculated into the condom, poured hot sauce into it, tied it up, and threw it in the trash can. Threw it away. This I don't know what kind of model she was, but whatever. She went into the trash can.
She was a hand model. I don't know if that's true.
I don't know. I don't think that's true. But point is, she went into the bathroom, untied the condom, and took the contents of said condom and shoved it right up there into her cooter. She then proceeded to scream, which I know Drake, as soon as he walked in the bathroom and saw what was going on.
Was he there when she did this?
Yeah.
I thought this happened after he left.
Apparently, at least for what I heard, I don't know if this is 100% truthful, whatever. But apparently he went into the bathroom to see why she was screaming for her.
I find it funny that...
And I would have found that hilarious. I damn well know if he was there and he heard the screaming, he probably lost his shit. He probably was like losing.
Dave Chappelle, gotcha, bitch!
Yeah, exactly. And so she's trying to sue him. She's currently anonymous, but you damn well know if she tries to take this to court, her name is going to be plastered all over everything. And she fucking deserves it.
I actually hope in this case Drake wins this lawsuit. And the reason why is because she was trying to trap him
in a pregnancy that he clearly wasn't trying to do. He clearly had sex with protection, used said protection, threw it away. She was going to go behind his back and impregnate herself with literally Cumster Demon. So it's just fucking terrible.
Here's the thing, right? So those are wondering, why the fuck does Drake put hot sauce inside of his condom after he's done?
Apparently it's...
I know why.
Oh, okay.
So the reason why is because this exact reason, honestly.
Well,
it's the way so that like when it's so that way one, I'm assuming he thinks that the hot sauce is going to kill the sperm, which I'm not sure it would. But
Depends.
The biggest reason is so that it's a deterrent to keep them from wanting to do that.
Yeah, 100%. Also, too, what kind of dumb bitch looks at a condom that you damn well know? First off, everyone knows that most condoms are semi-transparent, right? Mm-hmm. You damn well know what cum looks like.
It ain't red.
It ain't red. It ain't orange. It ain't whatever the fuck Drake put in there.
Unless it was a pink condom or a red condom.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
Point is that this bitch
that's like gas. That's like fucking the gas station bathroom thing you get out of the vending machine.
Yeah, but
don't trust those.
Yeah, don't trust those. But no, like she looked at that condom, saw that it was different colored than it was supposed to be, didn't think about it, and said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna shove it up there anyway. I want that money, or I want that Drake baby." And she got what she deserves.
Here's the other thing, and this is why sex ed is important, guys. What are condoms filled with on the inside?
A lot of times,
spermicide.
Spermicide, yeah.
What does spermicide do, Doc?
Oh, well, it kills sperm.
Correct. So, chances are the spermicide has been doing its job, and the sperm that's going in there isn't viable for impregnation anyway.
Yeah.
Granted,
And you're telling me
it can still happen.
It can still happen, but also too, you're telling me that someone like Drake isn't going to use a condom that has spermicide in it. Chances are very very low.
I've heard of celebrity guys like taking their condoms with them and disposing them somewhere else.
Oh yeah, of course.
And it's funny. This brings up a whole different can of worms. Sexual assault.
Oh no, they said people already said that she obviously can't be charged with sexual assault or rape because there was no sexual.
I don't mean like this.
Right. I was just saying that there are charges that if she tries to press this to court, she could totally get charged with a lot of shit.
Oh yeah, she could.
Like hardcore stuff. Like she might face prison time if she tries to take this to court. I don't know if she's smart enough to know this because she put hot sauce in her cooter. But
yeah,
I mean,
she put red cum in her cooter.
Like seriously. Like so, I don't know. But
what I was trying to get at is like you have all these women that are talking about dudes sexually assaulting them. Granted, I understand it is a thing, and it's wrong, but then
almost no one gives a fuck about us when it comes to this.
When it comes to men, they don't give a fuck. So and it's just like, how is that not the same thing? You know, you're talking about like the fact that guys have to be conscious enough to do that because they could be manipulated into a situation that they didn't want to be in.
Well, it's because part of it is the normality of it because people are not used to thinking about, you know, men when it comes to sexual assault. Part of it too is also people who are very stupid. So stupid people tend to only think of things that relate to themselves, right? So because you know, I'm a man or you're a woman or whatever, because me and you are different. A lot of people have problems associating empathy with someone who is different from them. And a lot of people don't like to think that they think that way in life, but they do. You know, it's part of the reason why majority of history was us versus them mentalities.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's almost the exact reason as to why World War I, II, Civil War, Spanish-American War, everything happened. It was because of a us versus them mentality, because you don't have any empathy for the person who's different from you. The only difference is today, sure, someone knows that it's wrong to be racist, but they don't know that it's wrong to not have empathy for someone who is a different sex, different religion, different whatever. You know, and so people have issues with that, but they also don't realize that they have those issues.
Yeah.
And it goes both ways. This isn't just women are stupid, so that way they don't feel bad for men. This is just that's part of the reason why you see a lot of men out there too who don't have any empathy for females who have been sexually assaulted, is because they don't have that empathy for someone who is different from them. So it goes both ways. It's just the idea that is why people do shit like this.
It's still crazy to me that on one hand they're gonna be like, you know, men are bad and you know men are bad because they commonly do this kind of thing, but on the other hand, like, guys have to consciously
it's the idea
get
part
rid
of that also
like, take their condoms with them in their fucking pockets.
Part of that is
they don't
stereotypes
get in a
too,
false
though.
pregnancy.
Well, part of that is stereotypes too, though, because you got to understand that you know, when people think of pedophiles, they usually think of like really old creepy dudes, right? You know what I mean? But actually, but
not the hot school teacher.
But a lot of pedophiles are female school teachers who fuck 13-year-olds, and they don't.
You know,
no one
Chris
talks
Hansen
about
actually had a thing. Is weird. Is, you know, Your Mom's House podcast with Tom Segura?
Mm-hmm.
He had Chris Hansen on there, and they actually asked him, like, "Did you ever catch any females?" And he said, "In all of the predators he's ever caught, not a single one of them was a female." And he said, "There's a reason why, though. The way that the female predator works versus the male predator are vastly different."
Oh yeah.
He said that there was one that they, like, you know, the decoys were in touch with, but they disappeared. They never showed up. They never set up a meeting. They just kind of fucking drifted off. Usually when the female predator will often develop into, like, we'll try to develop a relationship, versus the male predator who's just in it for fucking sex.
Yeah.
So it's more physically, obviously it's more physically motivated than it is emotionally motivated and physically motivated. So, like, that's why, like, you commonly see the female predator is usually a school teacher versus the male predator who is, like, it comes in all shapes and sizes.
Well, it's because a lot of females, you have to understand, though, that when you're talking about people who have predacious sexual habits,
mm-hmm.
some scientists have compared them to animals, right? And I know that's kind of weird, not to like dehumanize them.
Weird but accurate.
Even further than they already are, kind of like shitbags.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
no, they don't deserve to be called humans.
And I understand
they deserve to die.
And I understand, but this isn't just to put more icing on the cake that has already been iced. This is just the idea of, when you talk about sexual predators, why do a lot of sexual predators who don't even necessarily have a sexual preference for women, why do they target women? It's easier.
Yeah.
If you were to, like, don't get me wrong, I'm a pretty impressive physical specimen, if I do say so myself. I mean, I'm a goddamn stud, but
apart fucking manimal.
Apart from me stroking
goddamn beefcake man.
Oh yeah, beefcake. But like, apart from me stroking my own dick here, the difference is
I stroke your dick.
Ah, thank you. But point is that I'm a 250-pound man who regularly lifts weights. If you try to make me do something that I don't want to do, you risk self-injury, right? Like, that threat is now just as real to you as it is to me.
More than risking self-injury, you risk failure as well.
As well, yes. Now, what happens if you target women? It's not to say that it's a right thing to do. It's just the idea. The success rate is so much higher because why?
They go straight lizard brain with it.
Yeah, 100%. They go exactly. They do. It's a predatory behavior because you are isolating the weakest person who is probably by themselves, confused, intoxicated, maybe all three. You know what I mean? And now you are going to attack that person. And if you attack that person in a place where you can easily gain control, and now it's anonymous. You don't need to hide yourself. You can just attack them. That's why it's easier. For a lot of women who are predators, they need relationships. They need trust, and they need that person to be younger and weaker than they are.
From basically what it seems like women need to put a lot more work and effort into manipulating somebody into doing this.
Definitely.
Versus a man where, women are typically more empathetic than men.
Brute force is also a lot less of an option for women because you have to understand too, though, which is part of the reason why most women are only able to target middle school boys, is because why? One, they're not fully developed yet. If that 13-year-old boy doesn't necessarily want something, he's not, one, necessarily smart enough or strong enough to do anything about it. And two, you can't wait till they're in high school because in high school they're going to toss you around.
Also, they're hormonal.
Exactly. And they're hormonal.
They're going through puberty. So
which means that mentally they're easy targets. And so women in those situations can be in control. They can develop an emotional connection and also cut off that connection pretty easily. Right? So they are getting that emotional and physical need that they want. And they also feel safer doing that than going around other grown men because they can then exert that control over a 13-year-old or 14-year-old a lot more easily than they can over a grown man.
I remember the first time I ever heard about a teacher getting fired and in trouble and charged for a relationship with her student.
Yeah.
And this happened in the 90s. And weirdly enough, fast forward to the 2000s, they got fucking married when she got out.
That's weird.
Yeah, I know. It's super fucking weird. They ended up
really
getting married, having a kid. It was just like, ooh. And he was like,
explain that to that poor kid. Hey, yeah, mom and dad didn't get married earlier in life because mom got arrested for fucking dad. Like, damn.
Mom fell in love with dad when he was in her 7th grade class. Fucking nuts.
Like, we actually had one like that too. We had they didn't get married or anything, but we had.
I like how this went from gaming to talk about sexual predators.
Yeah, hunt them down. But no, it's really weird. We had one when I was in middle school.
At your school?
Yeah, she was a coach, and she, I mean, yeah, she was a young woman, and she apparently had sexual relations with one of the young men in the class, or it was involved with like a sports team. It wasn't like in her class specifically.
Yeah, and
it was weird because there were some rumors about that, and you hear dumb as fuck rumors like that all the time when you're in middle school, so at first a lot of people just were like, well, whatever, until out of nowhere she disappeared. Like
she was at the school anymore.
She wasn't at the school, she wasn't at practice, she didn't show up anywhere, no one's heard, saw, or knew where she went. Off the fucking grid, like gone. And the kid had come forward a couple of times to like some of the authorities and was like, yeah, I didn't know that this was genuinely was oblivious.
He's a young kid,
had no clue what was going on.
Full of testosterone. Like when you're that age, when you're in middle school,
you're full of testosterone for the very first time.
All you could think about is like dipping that dick and coming. That's it. That's all you can think about.
Yeah,
and I can say that because I was one. I was like that.
And
Like,
you don't know, because unfortunately this is also the first time in your life that it's ever happening. So you're like, oh my God, what the fuck?
you don't know
Like,
what to do with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And so like, yeah, so she disappeared out of fucking nowhere.
It's
Go
weird.
on.
Puberty between boys and girls is so different and weird, like in ways that like more of like boys when they go through puberty, it's more of instinctual shit.
Yeah. A lot of it.
Versus girls that go through puberty, it's more of like it's more of an emotional head fuck. It's
Yeah.
like a mind fuck, like fitting in with a certain group and stuff, and you know, you don't really understand what things are, and you're confused, and like both of them are confused, but like for it just like it turns into I guess like you could compare it to bucks when they're in a rut.
Yeah.
For those hunters out there, like pubescent boys, boys going through puberty, it's essentially like a buck in a rut. Like all they can think about is fuck. I want to just breed. That's it. Because they got all this testosterone and stuff, and they're just like, "Rah!" And this aggression, and it's such a fucking flip of the switch. Whereas with girls, it's a spike in estrogen, so it's the opposite way.
It also too, it fucks with your head too, because like you're more aggressive and you don't know why. You have no clue.
Like I said, reptile brain.
Yeah, definitely, and I've noticed that only really stops, like that reptile brain mentality only really stops when you hit like your early to mid 20s.
I know. Well, that's actually been a proven fact. Around the age 26 is when you finally mature enough to like
it's insane. Like right now I'm actually 26 right now, and comparing my thought process to me when I was like 18, I'm a goddamn genius now compared to who I was when I was 18.
Oh, dude, I've seen it in my videos when I was fucking 19, 20 years old doing YouTube videos. I'm just like, at that time, all I wanted to do was just stick my dick in something. I didn't care.
Yep.
I mean, I'm a chick, obviously, but like that's because that's, you know, what I was into. I am still into.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
No, but like at the time, all I could think about was like, all right, I want to fuck a chick. That's it. 100%. I didn't care about anything else. I just wanted to, you know, just dip my stick into things.
Very basal instinct kind of brain.
Yeah.
And then like you turn into you hit like, for me it was like 24, 25, and like I was like different complete brain. Like it was like a brand new brain got put in there, and it was like, sure, like you saw those urges and everything, but you have so much more control. You think a lot more. You're like, shit.
That, and you also like you prioritize different things.
True. Definitely.
Versus your instinctual needs, you prioritize your basic needs.
Yeah.
So you understand the difference between like your impulsive needs, like that are geared more towards your instinct, versus like your needs based more on like survival and sustainability.
Yeah.
So,
welcome to our new anatomy lesson, everybody.
Yes, yes, we use a lot of big words. That's a big word for Elmo.
Oh God, I'm so tired of hearing that shit. Fucking. However, though, have you seen the
balsamic vinegar?
I fucking hate that. I really do. I hate that whole thing. It was cool the first couple of times. I was like, oh, okay, I've never heard that shit before. Like, cool.
Bring it closer to you.
No, I don't want to talk about Elmo louder. Anyway, but no, have you seen the Tickle Me Elmo with all the skin and fur ripped off?
It looks like a horrifying robot.
It is terrifying.
This is the same with Furbies, dude.
And it also clacks and clinks instead of like the normal smooth sounding motion.
It's something out of a horror movie.
Oh my God.
It's the same with the fucking Furby.
Yeah, true.
Like Furby, I remember like, dude.
Now, audience, do you guys remember Furbies?
Oh, they brought Furbies back. Like,
did they?
Yeah, back in like 2015, 2016.
Holy shit!
Maybe
I didn't
even
know
later
that.
than that. I want to say 2017. They brought Furbies back. There was a whole Furby craze that came back for a little bit.
Holy shit! All right, shit.
Dude, Furby. I remember having a Furby.
I remember having one of the original Furbies from back in the day.
So do I. And those things don't die. They don't die.
No, they don't.
They wake up randomly. It's like having a child. So it's like they wake up randomly and they start saying, "Oh my God, mommy," and they start moving and shit and blinking. And I would turn the off switch, like turn it off.
Yeah.
And it would still fucking do shit. And it wouldn't stop. It kept me awake. And I remember it was like 4th grade. And then I remember fucking throwing it. And then I broke it and it was just like that. It just wouldn't stop. So I took the batteries out of it. Like it didn't, unless you took the power source away from it. And the batteries, for some reason, I don't know if it was just the batteries of that time or if that was just the amount of power that it took from the battery, Furbies never ran out of batteries. The batteries would go and go and go until you took those fuckers out. You almost never changed the battery on them. They just kept going.
I'm 100% positive it has to be batteries at the time.
It might
because back then they didn't care. They were like, yeah, cool, we'll make this thing last for a fuck ton of time.
This could power a nuclear weapon. Why not?
Like, I don't know. I never remember changing batteries all that often when I was a kid.
Now you're changing them all the time.
And now you change them all the fucking time.
It might also be the power consumption of what you're using.
Some of that maybe as well, but still.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So, we are done with topics today. Hopefully next weekend will be better. I start school next week.
Oh.
On Tuesday. So
excellent.
I'm down to part-time starting next week, so I only work Mondays and Fridays.
Very nice, very nice.
Which, unfortunately, I'm sure you want to do episodes on Fridays instead of Saturdays. But at the time, right now, I'm working 2 to 10 on Fridays. So,
Understood.
unless someone switches hours with me that week, I'll, plan to be doing this on Saturdays.
That's fine. I got you.
But I'm going to be trying to line up some guests.
Ooh.
I'm going to try to get Bad Bear on here.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to reach out to him and say, hey, do you want to be a guest? I'm going to reach out to a couple of buddies of mine that are streamers. We can talk about games and shit. Regiment people.
Excellent.
I think my first guest for Regiment is going to be the CEO of that, Chris. I know you all are watching this. I know some of you guys watch this podcast. Chris, I want you on as my first virtual guest.
Pop his cherry.
It won't be my first guest. Trust me, there's plenty of episodes dating far back that he is not the fucking first guest. But anyway, I'm going to try to do more to make this a little bit more entertaining. I'm going to actually start making, I've been saying I want to make like an actual like fucking template of this podcast so that we can actually have stuff.
Very nice.
Yeah, I really want to take this far this year. I'll take this
Nice,
really far.
nice. I'll be here with you every step of the way.
I'm going to rent a studio.
Oh.
No, I'm not. I can't afford to do that.
Understood.
Come on. But I will say this. There's going to come a time sometime in the next year or so where I sell this house and buy a bigger one, and my game room and podcast studio are going to be significantly better.
Are you really going to sell the house?
I want to. I want to fix up some shit and put it on the market, and me and Alicia, when I get better financially established and like a new career, get a different house. I want a bigger house. This is too small for me. I'm cramped back here.
So are you looking to stay in the same area, or?
Yeah, we'll go a little bit more west. I know, because it's a drive. I understand.
What do you mean?
For you?
No, I wasn't even talking about me. I was talking about get out of this dump hole area.
Oh, staying in Kenosha?
No, yeah, get out of here.
Yeah, get out of the city of Kenosha. I might stay in the county, which means I might go a little bit more west. I really want to go west. So
yeah, no, I'm not worried about the drive on my sake. Fuck, if you move 2 hours away, if it was in a better area, I'd be like, fuck yeah, brother. But
there's nothing wrong where I'm at now. I'm not in a bad area. What?
Anyway, guys, so
just because there was a shooting and riots and stuff.
Wow, I didn't even bring it up.
There's actually been more than just a shooting. There's a shooting all the time, but it's usually up that way, not this way. I live on the south side of Kenosha, which is actually
I'm just salty
best
about
part.
being in Illinois. I don't like Illinois.
No, I'm not in Illinois.
I know you're not.
I'll never go to Illinois.
I don't want to live in Illinois.
No one does. Why do you think it's the number one most moved out of state in the country?
Is it really?
Yes.
Fuck.
Yeah, they lose millions of people a year.
Are you sure it wasn't California?
We have a computer. Let me look. Watch this. 2021 most.
He can't read and now he can't type.
Moved out of state. Illinois, 67% outbound percentage.
Damn.
Number one.
Who's after?
New York.
Really?
California was fourth. So it's Illinois, New York, Connecticut, and California. Top four.
Well, Connecticut doesn't really count. They're so small.
Oh, wait. Illinois is not number one.
Oh.
Wait, what was this?
That's
top states people moved to. Oh, this is moved in.
Percentage.
Top states that people most moved away from. So New Jersey's number one at 71%. Illinois is number two. So it was New Jersey, Illinois, New York, Connecticut, California, Michigan, Massachusetts, Louisiana, Ohio, and Nebraska. Those are the top moved out of states. Top move 2 states is Vermont, South Dakota, North Carolina. South Dakota I attribute to fucking the show Yellowstone. South Carolina, West Virginia, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee. Alabama, why? Tennessee, Oregon, Idaho, and Rhode Island.
Why Rhode Island? It's
Don't
such
know.
a shitty state.
I don't know. Well, anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap this up for the evening. It's been a great one. This was episode 77. Nelson, it's great to have you back, buddy.
Of course.
You ready?
Glad to be back.
You ready to go on these Irreverent Warrior hikes? Oh, I forgot to mention.
What?
So the Regiment news I never told you about.
Yes.
So Regiment partnered with a PC company,
Okay.
and that means discounts on PCs.
What kind of discounts?
I don't know. They're gonna get a Regiment code for this company. What is
Okay.
the name of it anyway?
I'd be okay. All right.
Let's look. Let's look at the name of the PC company that Regiment is now partnered with. Let's see. Oh, they announced the giveaway. Enter for your chance to win a free gaming PC inspired by Veteran HQ, built by BR Paradox. That's who it was. BR Paradox partnered with Regiment, and we're going to be looking at getting discount codes and all that stuff, and eventually down the line for discount codes not only for PCs that are pre-built but PC parts.
Yo, I'm just doing a pre-built. I'm not. Fuck that.
Yeah, you could do a pre-built. So
Hell no, brother.
that's going to be fantastic. And I'm also still really upset about my fucking Blacklisted Gaming Podcast jersey. Well, it's whatever because we got a new logo anyway, so this is an opportunity to just get a different one elsewhere. It took me a month and a half to get that jersey, and it came, and the gold was green.
Some of it was.
Some of it was. The logo stuff and the flag was gold, but the actual accent colors of it is green. So, yay for that one. Anyway, love you guys. Appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your week. And always play like no one's watching. Have a good night.